Start recording. So I waited around, and now we have a few people in here, so I can actually get started. I can tell you what we're going to do for the next hour or so, or four. It might be, who knows how long it's going to take. But here's the goal. So the goal with this, and this is just to get good with Gin on the back end. Gin is a web framework. It's actually called a micro. I've heard it called a micro framework before, which I really love. And I'm generally, if you know me, I'm generally not a framework guy. I like NetHTTP, but sometimes you need a little bit more. Sometimes you need to use a regular expression for routing. Sometimes you need, um, robust middleware. Sometimes you want to use a context that doesn't suck, like Go's built-in context. And there's just a number of reasons to use Gin if you're going to do any level of like modular middleware. What is middleware? Middleware is the stuff that fits between the front end and the back end. So it's the stuff that runs in the browser usually on the server side, that not in the browser, but runs on the server side, that handles that. And that includes all API development. So that's the stuff where it goes. And we're not taking comments or questions right now about anything besides Gin. If you want to learn Golang, you need to come and to the questions and answers, and we'll ask that. Where are your no, that's fine. I get that question all the time. So, this is a co-learning thing. But it's perfectly fine for you to ask that question. I really encourage you to go put that question. By the way, so I just want to preface this too, because we are saving this for YouTube and I want to kind of stay on topic. I wander around as bad as it is. If you have a question, so I'm not going to be looking at the chat as much as usual. I will answer questions during the breaks. So we're going to do a Pomodoro break and about, 8 to 10 minute breaks in between every 52 minutes. And I'm happy to answer questions during that time. But if you have a question that you think other people could benefit from, like the question about where's the best place to learn Go, I would suggest that you go put that into the Discord chat, questions, conversations, and advice, and then you'll have a better chance of getting answered. Let me just give you my Discord. Okay, so why Gin? That's actually a really relevant question. The main reason because of Gin is because Gin is the best open API framework. There are lots of frameworks out there. Gin is by far the most mature. I don't think there's anybody that would rationally argue that Gin. Martini was the one before that, and Gin was an extension on Martini. And so, there's lots of web frameworks. A lot of web people who come from the Node world or the Ruby world, they're like immediately looking for a framework. And I would suggest they try to do it in HTTP first, and then look for a framework. And if they're going to pick a framework, Gin is the best one, hands down. There are a bunch of new kids on the block when it comes to frameworks, but none of them are as well established as Gin. Let me prove it to you. So if you go into the Open API, if you know what Open API is, you should already know what the Open API is if you're doing web development. It's an OPA specification. It's written in Java and everything. And it used to be Swagger. Nobody uses Swagger anymore. You should use the Open API. Swagger turned in. All the people that did Open API at the Swagger company left, and not all, but then they went and they started doing Open API, which is open source and 3.0 and not owned by a company and not controlled by a company, blah, blah, blah. And the Open API specification is here, but what the important part about Open API is that you have to have a generator. So you write up all this YAML for your REST API, and then there's two ways to do it. You can either use it as a guide to document your thing, or you can write your YAML stuff and then you run it through a generator and have your code stubs produced and then tie into that, which we've done. In fact, we have modified, I probably need to capture that for the world, because we ended up modifying our Open API generator template slightly for Gin. This is where Gin comes in. There's only two Go generators, right? There's the raw one that uses NetHTTP, which is totally broken. Is that it? I think it might use Mux or anything, but we used it. It was totally crap. And then we found the Gin one, and the Gin one is not perfect, but it's way better. And long story short, we concluded that there's not a lot of good, and some of you will remember this, there's not a lot of good Open API generators for Go, because all the good stuff in Go is being done in Protobuf, or there are a bunch of other frameworks and stuff that are people are just not using OpenAPI because it's all Java. And my theory is that it pushes away people in the Go community because the OpenAPI, all the tools for OpenAPI are in Java. And that can put people off pretty easily. So from my perspective, there's not a lot of Go community participation in the OpenAPI at all, which leaves us with limited choices. And one of those choices is Gin. And the reason they pick Gin is because Gin is the biggest framework out there for Go. You could do a search for Go frameworks, golang, middleware frameworks. It's also a micro framework, which means it's faster. There's no reflection in it. It just does the minimum, and that's always my favorite, right? Hey, a Medium blog. I'm sure that will be authoritative. What's new in Golang? Pros and cons. So sometimes, again, as I said, you don't need it. Are a serious time saver? Not always, but they can be. In the case of Gin, it is. So I have to use Gin, bottom line. But the reason that I'm doing this stream today is because we've got our OpenAPI spec done, and now we're writing code that uses our API and tests it. And so I'm going to be writing some mock Gin test cases. And there's a certain way to do that with Gin that we will take a look at. I just want to read this really quick. Cons of Golang framework still in development. Gojin web. This is Gorilla. These are all old. People use Gorilla and Mux and stuff. That's another big one. But Gin is way. Yeah, there we go. It is fun to save many hours of development through. It's kind of Gingonic is a simple and easy to understand framework compared to Martini. It's 40 times quicker because it's concentrated on important functionality and libraries. Gin is the absolute minimum things you need out of a framework. I just want routing. I don't want more than that. I just want routing and, context that gets passed to each thing. Gingonic is the preferred framework of the experts because it helps them to create web applications more quickly. I don't know. That says it pretty much. So that is why. All right. You can do your own research on that. We have, let me change context here. So I'm trying to decide where to put this stuff. We could probably put it into a lab. Let's go into the lab. Let me look at my lab here. My lab, I have a lab, artifactsrob/lab on GitHub. This is where I put my little tests. And so I kind of put them all in here so I can go back to them when I want to try. So we're going to start with a Gin project. Let's tmux in here and get this started. So yeah. And I don't know how to start with a Gin project. So we're going to pretend that we don't know anything because I largely don't know anything about Gin. I know what it's based on. I can describe to you. I'm using it at work, but it's being incorporated as a part of the OpenAPI generator. So we already get Gin code automatically. Now we could do that. We could write an OpenAPI spec and generate the Gin code from that and then go through the hassle of like figuring that all out. But I want to kind of cut past that stuff and go right to the part where we write a very simple piece of Gin middleware, and then we write the mock test for it, which is really cool, using httptest to mock up the connection and to test our REST API. So that's the goal. So the first things first. So getting started with Gin. Let's go read the Gin docs. Hey, look. Test library is already included in Gin. The busted is already included in Gin. Interesting. Simple health check API. Yeah. Well, we're going to try to do something like that. Yeah. Getting started with Go. Gin framework. I don't trust these Medium things, but what is this one? See the workspace. Gin new demo. Is this the same thing? No, that's Lua. Of course it's not. I was going to say, so that's for Gin framework. Gin is a high performance micro framework. That's why I like it. I like that they call it a micro framework. I am all about micro frameworks. We used to create web apps. It lets you write middleware, which can be plugged into more and more systems. I'm actually planning on using Gin for a lot of things. I'm going to be using like for managing my own cluster over here and stuff. So I've pretty much made that decision. That you write middleware, which can be plugged into one or more request handlers, request handler classes. It's the most popular framework of Gin that can be seen from the image above. Since Gin has the highest number of stars and forks in GitHub, you will learn and create a small sample API connecting MySQL database in this article. Okay, cool. Let's do it. I'm wondering if I should start up a VM just for this. Nah, I can do it fine over here. So one, you'll need Go, of course. Postman. We're using curl for this. We will use following packages in our program. You can get them. Ginjonic. No, that's not how you do it. You put it in your project. You don't need to go get it like that. Unless that's going to get me a command liner. Let's start with defining our project inside SRC. Ugh, why would you do that? All right, I'm going to do that. Because this actually is a project that might need an SRC. Usually you don't have an SRC. Usually either you have libcode at the top so the import statements are simplified. But in this case, we have like a web project that might have multiple things. So I guess if you want to learn about that, go read about Go naming conventions and Go Go project organization. So, okay, going inside source, go create a folder. I'll Gojin API. Then inside the project folder, run the command go out. Yeah, well, that part I know. All right, so they're having us do this as if they're assuming that we're going to have like a monorepo or a project that's going to have lots of stuff. And that's why they have an SRC directory, right? So directory, let's actually follow this to the letter. Props to the person who wrote it so far. I just want to get it up. I actually don't care about the project development. I want to get to the part where I test the mock cases because that's relevant for work. And I'm sure they're not going to cover that. So we'll just get to the point where the project is up and then we'll search someplace else for that. So go mod init mod, and you can have multiple mods in a single repo, Git repo, as long as you do them this way. Go mod init. It's going to make me put the SRC thing. Why are they doing it without the full path? Normally you would never do that. This is an anti-pattern. You usually have to have the GitHub thing in there. That's going to be interesting to see if that even works later. That's normally not a good thing to do. Yeah, because it's just going to make a Go mod that says, hey, this is my module. But that's completely useless. But we're just doing testing, so I guess we'll give them benefit of the doubt. It's a create a file. I'm not, for the sake of laboratories, it makes perfect sense. We'll create as I said, we're just trying to get to the mod part. This will create a file, go to mod inside project for it. Yes, I know. Moving on, let's now create our main files. Create main.go. Why main? I guess they're making a standalone application. Well, then why is it an SRC? That should be under CMD. This is totally bogus. Of course it is. It's a fucking Medium blog. No, this is stupid. No, it's totally wrong. No, I refuse. Make directory. Actually, I don't even fucking need any of that stuff. I'm sorry, YouTube. I swore I'm getting kind of bent out of shape. We'll put it here inside of Gin because this is just a lab directory. But don't take any of this as a basis for how you would make a starting Go project. Okay, this is not that, right? This is something temporary just to get a binary that'll run. That's the only thing we're doing here. Yeah, because normally you would never have a module name like that. It would have GitHub or something in it. I'm like really losing. And the fact that they had us in an SRC directory, they had us put a command is just completely against naming organization conventions. It should be under CMD. Import Ginjonic, var router, Gin and generic function. I'm going to retype all of that myself. I'm not going to cut and paste it because I want to learn it. So using ctx.json. Okay, so that stuff I recognize because we've done that before. All right, so we're going to come back to that. So main.go. And Most of the Go project structure conventions. Not this repo though. Not this Medium blog. When was this Medium blog made? I mean, they're following the convention in SRC, so yeah. You do not put main anything under SRC. That anything with main in it goes under CMD. Just saying. And that I'm pretty strict on that with myself and my team. If you, yeah, because you want all of your commands to be locatable. So like if somebody's coming into your project and you want to say, okay, I know there's a binary and I know it gets executed. Where the hell is it? And you can do a search, or you can look for all the CMD and go in there, and you should be reliably able to find all of the things that run, actually run, executables that run. And anything with a main package is qualifies. Anything else, all your package code library stuff can go under SRC if you have a lot of stuff that you want to put in your top level of your Git repo. But even then, most of that stuff is not even in an SRC. It's at the top level. But if you have other artifacts and documentation and things like that at your top level, and you don't want to, have all of that get mixed in with your package source code, then make an SRC. So you have an SRC directory and you have a CMD directory. So some people have used PKG in the past, but SRC is pretty much the standard. By convention, not by dictation. Nobody's going to tell you you have to do that. All right, so we're going to say, so we're going to import Gojin. We don't have to do that import line because it'll get included automatically by Vimgo. Var router Gin engine func. Okay, that's interesting that they would put that. Why didn't they define that internally? They didn't. Why would they make a package global for that? They don't need that. They don't need that. God damn, this Go code is already bad. What else is new? Okay, so we're gonna use walrus operator inside of here. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. Engine func. There's so much bad code out there though. We just okay. We just want an empty one, null value for this. Okay. Now, it should have included it. It did not. See, it can't include it because that other stupid. All right. I guess if I do go get, it might actually include it. Gojin GitHub. Gojin. Okay. Let me try something. Go get. I think this actually might have been a good thing to do, because it doesn't know about it because it's not downloaded onto my system, so my Vimgo can't infer it. Yeah, you're not supposed to use go get anymore. This is a really dated tutorial. You're supposed to use go install. Yeah, after 1.18, go get has been completely deprecated. You do not use it to install shit. You use this. You use go install at the latest. It's not a main package. Are you saying that go install only works with main packages? Huh. What do you mean it's not? Oh. I guess I had that wrong. Go get is no longer supported outside a module. This is a module. Is it not? Oh. Bad me. Okay, sorry. All right. I'm sorry. I had that entirely wrong. Yeah, they're using version 2 of YAML 2, which sucks, but whatever. Okay. Pelletier's Go Toml. That's the best one. I love it. I actually worked with Tom a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, see, this should not be. This should not be a project right here. I mean, okay, fine. We'll keep it like this. We're altering the tutorial a little bit. Pray I don't alter any further. All right, so now we save it. It should actually get it. It should get it. All right. No, still no dice. All right, fine. Oh, you know why? Because it didn't use the standard. Oh, fuck. All right. So I'm just going to go install really quick. And it's compiling and my fan is coming on. That's weird. Undefined engine funk. Oh, so I might have misspelled it. Well, that explains a lot. It does explain a lot. Yeah, no wonder it didn't import it. Go doc, Gin. All right, there's no engine funk. It's just engine now. So apparently it's changed. Yeah, we're using an old tutorial. Groovebox, yeah. It's a modified Groovebox. Yeah, we're using an ancient tutorial. What else is new? People are like, hey, where's the best place to learn how to code go? I tell you what, it's not on anything on the internet. Because it's not any written documentation about this is automatically. I mean, I should probably throw the whole fucking thing out just because of that. Right? I was like, why isn't my thing importing automatically? Oh, okay, now watch save. Boom. Right? So if it doesn't import, no, moral of the story, if it doesn't import automatically using Vimgo, it means that it doesn't exist, even though this stupid ass ancient Medium blog says it does. Why don't people delete shit that's out of date? That's what I want to know. Does this even have a date on it? April 2020. April 2020. What year is it? So, indent the code correctly. Yeah, I don't care if it doesn't indent it correctly. It's just using. I'd rather have that than the W3M version of this. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I can read it. That's because they've used the wrong stuff for that. Google the author's name. No. Short attention spans. Me? No, I'm just like they broke the API. So yeah, I'm interested in that. This makes me wonder what version the generator uses. I'm sorry, I have to tangent on something. I have to go see which version the OpenAPI generator uses. I have to see which version, because if I'm learning the wrong version, it's all going to be useless. Okay, package OpenAPI embeds encapsulates the current OpenAPI generators tools. Go Java cache. I wrote this thing. This is a bonsai branch that you can use. It'll put the generator. It'll build the Java jar generator into your Go binary. So you just have a big fat binary that has Java in it. You don't have to care. And when you run it, it'll run it. It'll uncache it and take it out of the embedded FS and put it in there if you want to use it. So that's a thing. So generate Gojin server. So we need to go. That's actually going to be in the generator. Oh no, we would have to open up the Go generator and see. What we could do is we could look at the test code. So here's some OpenAPI spec this is the standard pet store one, which is really bad, but everybody uses it. I want to see OpenAPI test, validate, out, test data, OpenAPI, OpenAPI.run version 6.1. No, that's the version of the. That's the embedded FS thing. That's the thing that we embed. Oh, I am going to have to go look at the generator and see what version of Gin it uses. Yeah. OpenAPI tools on the org. Let's go to GitHub. Yep. Sorry for the distraction, but we have to do this. OpenAPI tools generator. No. LS versus code. I don't know what you're talking about. Is VS Code? No, it's not VS Code. It's Vim. OpenAPI generator. There's a directory that has all the generators in it, just so you can see. Vagrant can bite me. Oh, I so hostile, Rob. I just am, I guess. Bin docs modules. I don't OpenAPI generator CLI core Gradle plugins. There's some place in here where all the generators are. Oh, I gotta figure out where it is. I've forgotten. OpenAPI tools, OpenAPI generator. Okay, so I think I have this already. Clone OpenAPI tools, OpenAPI generator. Oh, there's a dash. Let's clone that down and look at from the command line much faster. Although the download will take a little while. So, time to drink coffee. Oh, thank you for that follow. That was very kind. Did you guys see? Did you see my rack? I finished. I got everything in there finally yesterday. You should see it at nighttime. It's very when it's dark. It's really pretty. These MSI Tritons all have like glowing LEDs. I need to make a rack cam. 28%. God damn, this is huge. It's because it's Java code. That's why. So we have so many minis because I have a 20, 21, actually 27 node Kubernetes cluster on-prem in my apartment. We're going to see a lot more of that in the coming weeks. Yep. And then right here, I saved some space. Right here, I saved some. There's my OpenSense router. You can't see it. It's right there, actually. We saved some space for some other stuff. Still downloading, by the way. We saved some space over here. I'm getting 3 more SSD things for the control planes, etcd and stuff. Yeah, I had those minis from before. Yeah, they're fun, and we should probably have on the order of like 20,000 cores in for machine learning if we can figure out how to split the job up, which I want to do. I want to learn how to do that. Anyway, so let's do this. Okay, so we have this new thing that we just downloaded, OpenAPI generator, and there are generators in here somewhere. And I'm trying to find them. I don't remember where they are. So git grep gen Jacker OpenAPI generator working directory. Let's see if we can find. I hate that we have to do this, but I tell you what, if you're going to use OpenAPI, you better get really intimate with your generator because you're going to have a very close relationship with it. And if you get it wrong, your entire enterprise API will fall on its face. So, yeah, it's worth it. If you're using OpenAPI, that is. A lot of people don't because of that. But our company demands it. There we go. Samples client pet store. Oh, it's under the samples. Of course it is. Samples. No, we want server. Make sure you get server instead of client. Pet store. Oh, look at them all. Look at all those generators. So we can go look at Go. But look at that. See, there's Go API server, Go Cheese server, Go Echo server, Go Gin API server, Go server require. We're going to do Go Gin. And so here's where we are. We're in GitHub.com, OpenAPI tools, OpenAPI generator, samples, server, pet store, Gin, Go Gin API server. And we're going to look for, we're going to look to see what version of the generator it uses. So this code was generated from the generator, and we've hacked ours. We have some stuff that fixes all of this, and I actually need to make that public. There's no reason I can't release that publicly, but I've tweaked the Gin generator and done some stuff to it to fix it because it's kind of broken. It's like really, the way it's broken is that it's written by people who don't understand Go. So they fundamentally made a dependency so that if you change anything in the generated code, it gets blown away. And unless you put it in an ignore file, which is really laborious and unnecessary. So what we've done is we've made it so everything that gets generated goes in its own package. And then we have another package that we use that it calls into. And then that package is maintained completely independently, the same project and everything, but completely separate. So we can generate code at any moment without breaking any interactions between the two. The fact that it wasn't written that way from the beginning tells me that these people don't fucking know Go. If they had, they would have written it that way. Instead, they wrote it so it blows everything away, which then all the good Go programmers are not working on the OpenAPI project. And then I'm like, why don't you write your own generator? And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't have time right now. But I definitely do want to do that. I do. I want to make our own generator. I'll probably stick with the generator. I will probably clean up the Gin generator templates. They're kind of shit, actually. And go, but I don't have time right now. I've got to do other stuff. So this is how you make a server. So if you actually use this is all you get. You don't have to deal with writing your own API or anything, right? So you can just do this. It almost makes me want to do it, actually. Yeah. It almost makes me want to do it with OpenAPI because then I could it would be an exact perfect test. I wonder how fast I could run OpenAPI. I could use the pet store API. If I just use the pet store API, I could just generate it really quickly, but then it won't be consistent with our changes. It's been a while. Yeah, how's it going, Mr. Emma? So let's do that. Let's go. So the code in Go. This is the code that gets generated by the API generator, and as you can see. You have to change everything. So, and it does like really bad documentation and everything. It's like so bad. But they don't know Go. Oh. But yet this is the standard generator for Go in the OpenAPI project. I have to calm down now. All right. So, basic misunderstanding of Go. They just no fucking idea. Anyway, so, and you can change all this by changing the templates, which we did, but I haven't released that publicly. Why did I take a break? What are you talking about, break? Go look at my VOD list. I stream 40 to 60 hours a week every week, and have for the last year at least. Because I wasn't in your category or because I wasn't streaming at your time? That might be. So... Anyway, okay, so here we go. Fetch jar container go install Jennifer fetch jar. No, this is the thing. Okay, so this is the one that I wrote for something else. We're gonna get rid of that one for a second. Yeah, I switch around. I stream to all different kinds of categories. Yeah, I stream to like 6 different categories. I think streaming to a single category because you're married to that category is tribal and stupid. But I'm doing Go right now, so it makes sense to be here, right? Every boost we've been doing every Saturday and Sunday has been this category these days because we've been doing Go. We did a Go tutorial, and we're on the 4th week of Go, so might as well put a plug in for that. So Saturday 2 to 6, we're going to be doing week 4 of Go programming from scratch. So there. Okay. But today this is kind of me at work doing stuff to try to figure out. Right now, the goal is to figure out what version of Gin the Go generator uses. and I absolutely don't know what that is. So I'm actually going to try to infer it because I'm definitely not going to see it written out anywhere. And the best way for me to infer that is to go read this and see if they've done anything stupid. So we'll read the routers. Hey, thanks for that. I'm not taking my hat off, but I appreciate it. So here's the stuff that gets generated. Handler func. Gin engine. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So they are using the newer one. This tutorial is like really, really ancient, even though it was done in 2020. Welcome to coding, my friends. This thing is outdated. So we're actually following an outdated tutorial. Should we throw it out? Nah. It'll be good for me. It'll be good for me to go from an outdated tutorial because then I'll see how other people may think that it's done because it's only 2 years old. So anyway, we make a router, and then what? Then we make a main. We gin.default. Oh god. Okay, this tutorial writer does not fucking know. They do not know. All right, so API equals medium dev.to. No, just no. Let's see, API equals router.group. API get. Let's see, context.json. Oh, those are It looks like those are anonymous functions. Maybe not. I might have to open this in an actual. Should we Gojin framework? I'll go ahead and do that. I don't want to make a mistake here. What's Gin? I just talked about it. I'm not talk. Go back and watch the VOD. It's a middleware framework for Go. The tutorial is not correct. No. It's old. You're talking about the. You're talking about something else. Yeah. I kind of want to do this instead and throw out the other one. Yeah, this is an actual Go tutorial. So, fuck this tutorial. It's now gone from my life. Blacklist that shit. Don't ever use it. No, I used Vim and find. Yeah. Exit via another file. Yeah, because it's way faster. Yeah, like exceptionally faster. I don't exit. Sometimes I exit. Sometimes I open a new window. It depends. I mean, these kind of questions I cover completely in the boost. So if you want to learn what I do and why, it's either covered in the boost or it's covered in the QCA playlist on YouTube. You can go search through there. Okay, this tutorial introduces the basics of writing a RESTful web service in Go. This looks really good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually make a note about this. Zet create best tutorial for Go lang Gin. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in here. I'll put tutorials. It's easy to get tripped up with stuff that returns first in search results, but these seem very relevant in 2022. Okay. All right, so that's now saved in my notes. Okay. We could probably open this from links because I do not like this stuff here. I don't. You can disagree. That's fine. Yep. Tutorial, the basics of writing RESTful Web API services. Get started with Go for quick introduction. Design API endpoints. Create a folder for your code. Create the data. This is much better already. Relevance note. Bold. Oh, right. Write a handler. For this, the tutorial tutorials. Open the Cloud Shell. Installation of Go 1.16. Yay! This is not an old piece of crap. Design API endpoints. Good. Create a folder for your code. CD into home path. Oh, they even did Windows. Look at them. Okay, mod example. Okay. I like that they used example as a prefix. That is smart. God, these people are great. I really like that they did that. That just says, hey, buddy, don't depend on this. Right? Oh, I love it. I'm going to use that from now on. In fact, I'm going to make a note about that. Create, use example for lab Go modules. I noticed a convention used on go.doc to create modules with examples to really hit home the idea that normally you would never do this. Go mod init example some app or package. Yeah, that's a cool little thing. Hey, Mama. Howdy. Go mod init, create a Go module, Go mod file, manage dependencies, next to design data structures, create the data. Okay. Write your code using text editor, create a file, main.go, package main, this I know. This is great. I love this tutorial because it doesn't assume you know anything, except for how to code and go. Beneath the package, you'll do this. You'll add a struct. I don't need to be instructed on structs, so that I have no problem cutting and paste that into my thing. I have no problem cutting and pasting that because that's just busy work. Beneath the struct declaration you just added, paste the following line of slice albums. Oh, yeah. Okay, again, this is not stuff I need to do because I know how to do structs and stuff. That's not... If it's something that I wanted to solidify in my memory, I would not cut and paste it. That shit I don't care about, though. All right, so next to write the code to implement your first endpoint. It's nice. I'm excited. Are you excited? Write a handler. I'm actually legitimately excited. This is a good tutorial. Okay, write a handler to return all items. When the client makes the request at get albums, you want to return all the albums in your JSON. Yes. To do this, you'll write the following logic to prepare the response code to map the request path to your logic. Yes. I know that part. I've done that already. Okay, so we're just kind of following along. Note that this is the reverse of how they'll be executing at runtime, but you're adding dependencies first and the code that depends on them. Write the code. God, this is a really good tutorial. Who wrote this? I want to send him a love letter. Beneath the struct code you added in the preceding section, paste the following code to get the album list. This get albums function creates JSON from the slice, which is a private one, by the way, of album struct, writing the JSON is the response. All right, now this is something I'm going to write from scratch because I want to get it. Except for this, I'll use this as my test. This is. Can you write it, Rob? Can he write it from scratch by himself? This is, I'm testing myself here. Okay, so func get albums. And I think it returns, does it return an error? No. Okay, I'm going to try to remember it. It's just Gin context. This is another thing I really love about Gin. It's not complicated. It just has a context. The end. There's not like a bunch of other stuff. So see Gin.context. That part I could have got because I know that. The context is not the same. I actually think that Gin predates the addition of context to the language. Context, which I opened a ticket because they're stuttering in there and they didn't follow their own rules. They closed it and said, we don't care. And CETA indented JSON. So the context, okay. Gin, let's look at this. What? Oh. Gin.context. Look at this wonderful, what? Have I not imported it yet? Oh, I know why. It might be in here. Yeah, okay. Gojin context. Look at this glorious thing. It's got, this is why I love Gin. Okay, I'm sold. I was super skeptical when I started it, and now I'm totally sold. So the way they do this is they pass this like powerful context to all the middleware, and the middleware is just a function at that point. And I just really love that. So it's like request, writer. These are things you have to make. But then, oh, no. That's context.request, context.writer. So you can grab out the HTTP underlying net HTTP stuff directly if you want it. So this is all stuff under, it's CTX dot whatever in my case. Keys, errors, accepted, abort with errors. So, you don't have to do, like if you're doing net HTTP, you have to it's a pain in the ass to deal with context.context, right? You need to do .close on it or something like that. But the Gin does that all for you a lot better. So you can abort with errors, abort with status codes. And that's why not use an IDE? Because IDEs are for other people besides me who are slow. ASCII, JSON, bind header, bind query, bind TOML, bind URI. This is interesting because they're not following the tradition there. We were just talking about that. Look at this. See how they did capitalize the acronym? That is the Go convention. By definition, you're supposed to do it. It's in the docs, actually. And this is supposed to be capitalized. The only reason it wouldn't be capitalized is because it was generated somehow. That's a fail. We had a big debate about that at work recently because we're building our own API and some of the stuff does not translate directly. So from FS, go query. So HTML header. Yeah. Param, post form. I mean, look at all this great, awesome stuff. I mean, everything is associated with the context. And I guess some people might balk at that, but I love it. It keeps the middleware very, very simple. Oh, wow. It's got a TOML output even. TOML, XML, and YAML. I made the TOML logo. Go look it up. True story. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you that. And get albums response to the list of albums of JSON. Get albums JSON. All right, so this is not something I would have known, but I'm going to type it in because I want to learn it. So we're going to do C. I don't use CTX. I hate it because it's hard to tell. Indented. It's a pretty common idiom in Go, idiomatic Go, to write really, really teeny tiny arguments because the type is right after it like this. In fact, you'll see people use a space string, and then they'll use a throughout because it's like an argument, right? Right, a get elements function that takes Gin context parameter. Note that you could even give this function name. Function any name. Neither Gin nor Go require a particular function format. Gin.context is the most important part of Gin. It is. It carries the request details. We just looked at that. I'm glad we looked at it then. Validates and serializes JSON and more. Despite the similar name, this is different from Go's built-in context package. It actually predates the intent. I'm just going to say it. I think the Go team failed massively with the now mandatory built-in context that is forced on us in everything. I cannot overstate my disagreement with the design of that shit that got rushed in without proper approval, and now we all have to use it. There. Okay, back to normal. Uh, it's totally horribly designed. It could have been so much better, and they just rushed it in. All of a sudden, it was in there one day, and everybody had to use it to use NetHTTP. Well, thank God I don't have to touch it again because I'm going to use Gin, who has an actual context that's good. Switch to Rust? No, it's like one library thing. I don't want to switch to Rust and be completely unemployable. No. Rust is good for a very few things. We've talked about that. We're not going to fight over that. All you Rust people who, you can do your thing. You can do your thing in Rust and be fun and irrelevant. That's fine. Go have fun. Okay. Anyway, so it carries request details, validates JSON, and more. Call context on indented JSON to serialize the struct into JSON and add it to. I mean, all of this stuff. I gotta say though that the JSON serialization in Gin is slow. It is. We were looking at it. It's slow and it has problems. And we want to find a way to override the JSON serialization in context. I think you can do that actually, but we don't know that for sure. Hey, Mr. Young. HTTP status okay. Albums. Status okay. And albums is a package global, so all right, so that's just going to answer our question, and then we have to make. I already can tell the next step. I think so that's the case when HTTP 200 okay and DA to call the constitution. Yes. Near the top of the main go, just beneath album / declaration, paste the code below to assign the handler function to an endpoint path. Okay, so this is what we just did. Notice how they define the router inside of the main function, which is what I did from that other tutorial when I saw it was full of shit. God, there's so many bad ones out there. They even kept it private, which is totally better. There's so much bad shit. Why is it that people write really bad tutorials? There's so many of them out there. It's so hard to find good stuff. In this case, hey, go to the Go.doc. At least they probably vet some of this stuff, thank God. The Medium doesn't, dev.to doesn't. They just put random shit in there and yell at you and cancel you if you disagree. That's your opinion, man. I'm like, no, it's not. Canceled. Well, then you can go someplace else. Okay. Happily. It's like, yeah, enjoy being completely wrong. Yeah, spread the ignorance. Go for it. Yeah, you express your free will to be an idiot. In a stream and an ad right at the start, the whole stream is delayed by the time the ad were to live. Sorry about that. You could always sub and not have that problem. It does. Thank you for the sub. It does help. It does help. It's especially this week. This week I've had a really hard time mustering up the will to stream at all because I've been getting so much shit done without streaming and having Twitch brain like I have right now. Let's see, router.run. So that starts up our router. Router.run apparently. I mean, it's so simple. Look at how simple this is. I mean, it is simple. Localhost 8080. Yeah. Yep. Yepers. What if I listen on the external interface too? Oh, I guess I can use curl for this. Everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. I'm quoting you. Add quote to. I paraphrased it a little bit. Metalstrom. That's what I type. Damn it. Didn't work. How about now? Quote number 37. Everyone has the right to be wrong. That's another one. Yeah. I mean, I can do that one too. Yeah. I know I'm taking my break a little bit. In case YouTube's like, what the hell is he doing? I'm making quotes. Has there now you'll so if you type quote, you'll get a random quote. See, and if you type, you can also do quote 38, and you'll get the right one. Quote 38. Now we need to like codify them into like RWX canon. Quote number 38. Everyone has the right to be wrong. I respect your right to be wrong. Okay. I mean, yeah. Istio is a service mesh. Yeah. It's a mesh. Somebody wanted me to quote that. Yeah, it is. It's a total mess. It's better now though. They fixed it a lot since I said that. That was a while ago. Anyway, back tutorial. Okay. In this code, you initialize the gen router for the default. Yeah. Do a get method. Yeah. Pass the get albums. Yeah. Use the run function to attach a router to the HTTP server. Yeah. And start the server. Near the top of the menu, just beneath the package declarations, import the packages you need. I don't need to do that because my browser did, and because my Vimgo did it. See, my Vimgo did it automatically. Yeah. If you're not using Vimgo, I feel sorry for you. Run the code. Begin tracking the gen module as a dependency. The command line use go get. We don't need to. I just do go build. I don't need any of that. I don't think I need that. I should say. I should be able to go install and get it. Yeah, go. So now I should be able to go -gen -API and start a server. I have a server running. All right, curl local host 8080. What did we say the thing was? Was it albums? Album. The path is albums, the route or whatever. Albums. Woo! Look at this. Isn't this wonderous? I just made an API. I did. I made an API. I love this tutorial. I seriously, sending a love letter. And see how the logs say 200? And it tells you how fast and everything. Well, if you do something wrong, so like without an S, say 404 not found, and it gives you that. And so that is a thing that's cool. I'm going to make all kinds of APIs after this. I am. I mean, I've been meaning to make APIs for lots of different things, especially since now part of my server over there is going to be, internet facing. So people will be able to add stuff. And then I'm going to pull that into my bot. I'm going to put that into my Twitch bot. So people can call into my API from the Twitch bot. They can call into my API. Which you can do, by the way. Did you know you can do that entire thing just using CloudBot? Yeah. CloudBot will call any URL as an API, and you can actually have it take the values out of it and put them into something. It's pretty cool. So I still want to make my own, but whatever. Anyway, so now we can do this. We can say curl albums, pipe that to JQ. Let's look at the dot artist. All right, so we have John Coltrane, Jerry Mulligan, and let's do SSL, which is, you should do that for everything, or AWS Lambda. Yes, and then we could do -R to get it so it doesn't have the quotes and stuff. All right, so mission accomplished on that front. Now we need to test that stuff, so that's going to be next. Let's finish the tutorial, and then I'll go. I want to start getting into the testing, which is a different resource I'm going to have to go look at. So go run. No, why would you do that? Just go install and run it. You can't do that. We already did that. We did all that. You've started an API. I really did. Thank you so much. Let's do post albums. God, it's so easy, huh? So we're going to post albums. The logic of a new album is to exist a bit of code around a post. Yes. Write the code. Post albums. Ooh, this one's more involved. So post albums, var post, call bind to JSON to bind and receive JSON data. I love that you can just do bind JSON. You don't have to do all the unmarshalling that you normally would have to do, right? Right? I mean, that's like so much better. So yeah, it takes a hash. Okay, it takes a pointer. It takes a pointer to a new album, and then the error returns nil, of course. Oh, and look at it. It just returns to the empty value. Okay. Add the new album to the slice. But it's not persisting it or anything, which is fine. Status created. Oh, wow. They have an actual status created. Damn. It's got everything you could ever want. All right. I'm going to take this comment as this is my challenge. Can I do this without looking? I'm going to try to do this without looking because I want to commit it to memory. Shin.context. And this is a way to challenge yourself, if I think. So post adds an album from the JSON. Okay, so the first thing we do is make a new album. Var album is one of an album. Okay, and then to do get the values, and then to do print the source, print the response status, whatever. All right, so we're gonna get the values. So we need c dot JSON. No, what was it? Don't tell me. Parse JSON. It's not Marshall. What is it? Bye. Goes my wife. JSON. I have to look. Bind JSON. Bind. That does. I've never heard it called that before. So bind and Marshall is the same thing. So in order for me to remember this, let's think of like a really fancy British marshal, or if you will, one of the U.S. marshals. So like Tommy Lee Jones. Think of Tommy Lee Jones, and he's bound up. He's bound up like in The Fugitive, and he's all bound up, and he's like, I'm gonna get out of here. So bind and Marshall go together. Okay, so bind JSON, and by the way, the marshal's name is Jason. And we want this to say I want to put it into album. I don't want to put it into a copy of album. So I have to take a pointer. That's you're gonna remember it though now, aren't you? That strategy of making really ridiculous stories that go. That's exactly how people remember pi out to 500 digits. That's exactly what they do. They make a crazy story in their head and they play the story in their head while they're reciting off the numbers. That's exactly the people who win mnemonic competitions. That's what they do. So I know it's crazy, but it works because our brains are programmed for stories. We have this narrative thing. Our brains love stories. That's why we like watching movies and shit. Anyway, so we're gonna do that. Let's say so bind JSON error. It sends us an error, and we say if error is not equal nil. Good old. This is the thing people always complain about, right? So if we don't have a value, just ignore it. Oh wait, I can get rid of this. That's more mnemonic. Expect an operator found return. If error. Oh. There we go. How's it going, pardon, senior? I think that one's done. Print the response status. So I just remember this. Status. I think it's success created. Right? We're going to test this. To go fall in love with Rust. That's fine. I don't care. Let them write Rust. More jobs for me. I don't know why. That's fine. Yeah, I run away, go code in Rust and leave the Go programming jobs to us, and I'll just keep doubling my salary because no, I mean, look, I can learn Rust if I wanted to. I don't need to. Nothing's done with it. I'm interested because of there's two. I told you yesterday. I told you there's two projects in Rust I'm really interested in. One of them is the one from Amazon for KVM management, which I think is really in the sweet spot, and the other one is something I was talking about yesterday that I can't remember now. Oh, what was it? What were we talking about yesterday? Roast them. I mean, there's a few tiny little things that are done with it, but the amount of jobs in Rust is zero. Seriously, and then it's extremely competitive. There was something else. What was the other thing in Rust that we were talking about that we want to follow? There was something I really like that I'm going to be using. That's Rust. It's not Alacrity. It was like an actual huge project. There's Firecracker. That's the one. It was more Go content. Yeah. The whole entire, yeah. Yeah. Chris Nova switched, Primagine switched. So they're completely irrelevant. I mean, I love them. I love them, but what they're doing is completely irrelevant to 99% of jobs in the industry right now. We need people like that to experiment, but if you're a beginner and you learn Rust, you are doing yourself a disservice. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from somebody who ended up with a $100,000 big entry-level engineering job for InfluxDB, who come to the conclusion himself, who told me about Rust in the first place, that he needed to learn Go in order to get a job. He did. He got the job, and then he was able to code Rust on their FlexLang project, as well as Go. Go got him the job. So you can learn Rust if you want, and that's cool. But if you want a job, learn Go. Because I mean, you can put Rust on your resume, but in the interview they're going to say, this job is for cloud native development, and you're going to be evaluating, or you're going to be doing operations, and the error messages for all of Kubernetes or line numbers inside of Go source code. You're going to be able to read that. I'm like, no, I learned Rust. Well, okay. Somebody over here, yeah, I code Rust all the time on that side. I code Go all the time on the side. I play with Rust. Oh, that's cool. That shows you're like reaching out and you're learning different things, but it also shows you're competent at the job. Learning Rust does not mean you're competent at anything in cloud native, period. And if you're going to do only Rust, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And the reason I get so loud about this is because beginners do this shit all the time. And it makes me crazy because then they're like, I can't get a job. I spent all my time wasting it learning Rust. And I get frustrated because I want to help you. Keyword in my statement was on Twitch. Yeah, there are definitely people who, the stuff that Chris is doing is very experimental and awesome, and she's trying to improve the language, and I fucking stand behind that 100%. I do. I think she's one of the few with Gamozo and Brian Cantrell who are trying to do things interesting with Rust. Chris Nova, I have a tweet from her that says that she gave Rust after first blush evaluation a 4 out of 10, and she said, "Okay, let's get busy. There's lots to fix here." So for Chris Nova to go in honestly and say Rust is 4 out of 10 on the language scale for getting anything done of significance, she's also a kernel programmer. So she's interested in seeing if we can do drivers in Rust, and that's great. She's Rust experimental. She just got Go mastered pretty much. She's written tons of Go. So she just wants to explore it. But if you're a beginner, don't explore. Learn something to get a job and then explore. Unless you're a hobbyist. That's my only rub with that stuff. That's why I get upset. Right, that and the Rust lying that happens all the time. I've attempted to stream on the project. Yeah, Python, sure. The time of the moment, yeah, join the club. Nobody has time to stream. That's why I only stream stuff that I'm working on. This is work related. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Mr. Young. I'm. It's just my normal rant. Yes, it's good for getting a job. The answer is yes. 100% of the cloud native industry, except for, I think, Elasticsearch is Java, is written in Go. I'm not saying this because I am some Go fanboy. I am, but it's not the reason I'm saying it. All right, so whatever. Okay. Present response. HTTP success created. I'm going to have to look at what I was doing. So we need to send one back, and I think we need to do a post, right? Oh, no. We need to add the album to the slice. Oh, we forgot about that. Okay, so here we have an album. Now we had to add an album to the slice. So albums, this is normal. So albums equals, what? Oh, it's an array, yeah? Equals, all right. Append albums, album. All right, so that's a small thing. So now it's added to our database. There would obviously be persistence there. Would normally persist as well. I mean, we would write it to our database or whatever, or a Redis database or something. Required for cloud. I mean, go watch the boost. Everything in the boost. That's my short answer. So, yes, I'm breathing. Restoration is Web3 of code. Okay, so wait. Indented JSON. Okay, so we have to do that. I don't understand though. Okay, I'm learning something. I hope you learned a lot from you. Oh, thank you, Sue THR. Hopefully, yeah. The boost is what I made for that. So if you want to, I'm very long-winded in there, but whatever. So this is throwing me. Okay, so here's something interesting, my friends. When you do context.indented JSON, there's an implied verb. This is my first critique of Gin. When you are doing something, this is a noun. All right. Promise me when you start to write. Oh wow, thank you. Promise me when you start to write code that you will use verbs when there is an action involved, and that you won't use verbs when there is a dynamic method, a dynamic attribute. Like, okay, because this threw me. Let me tell you why. This says c.indented JSON. This I fully expect from reading the syntax of this really poorly named method that this is going to return indented JSON. It's going to return it, and it's going to give me something to do with it. And I'm like, okay, well then how do I send it back to the web browser? Guess what? This method implies that it's going to do that. So the proper thing would be to say here, it would be c.respond or c.send or something like that, right? So but they tried to save space, and now it's confusing. So indented JSON implies that it's going to send it back. So this sends back a response, right? The proper thing to name that would probably have been c.respond. It would have been c.respond indented JSON, or c.respond, ind JSON, or what, indent JSON or something, instead of c. this, because it's not implied, and I missed it because it's got a stupid name. So, wait, is that bad? I wish I had stocks. I don't. Indented JSON, success created. And then I guess we can tell it, what the new album was that we created. So, album. All right, so let's try that one now. And we need to add another, we could say routers post. We're going to do, what do they call it? Add album, I guess. Post albums. And we'll say post album. Post album. Okay. Minus 3%. Ouch. All right, so let's try this. Install it first. Oh, damn. Status created, not success created. Okay. All right, so let's start it up. Gojin API. And where's our curl? We're going to need to do a post, x post, and we're going to need to do the data. Yeah. Dash D. This is always hard because you're like in doing things. And what are the field names for it? Title. Let's say that the title is foo. Title is foo. 400. Damn. It didn't like it. It didn't like it. Oh, we need to do URL encoded. Yeah. Yes. Create another endpoint to handle the post request and add an item. I already did that. Well, we already did this. Post albums, new album. We did that already. And then run, yeah. Oh, I forgot to do the header type. I forgot to do the header type. Yeah, I think it's content type. Is it XJSON? I don't think anybody uses the X one anymore. I mean, this is my web skills like showing that they are lacking. Yep. Was that invalid category provided? Here's a list of categories. Curl the command line tool itself. Oh, I know why. Just give me a sec. DT space escape. P. There. Because I'm using set-ovi. If you're not, I feel sorry for you. x.post-d. Oh, wait. This has to be a JSON object, of course. What am I missing? Is it not dash H? Maybe it's capital H. It is. Okay. There. We did it. Yeah. Okay. So we posted a thing. And if we actually go get our album now, that'll be the latest. Right? Let's look for titles. Yeah, we have foo now. So our server is working. The command should display headers and JSON on the album. As previously stated, we did all this. We did all that. Next section, write a handler to return a specific item. All right, last thing. And then after this is all done, I'm going to write a way to mock up tests in Gin, which I don't think they cover, which we're going to do that. Hopefully they'll cover it. But if they don't, we're going to do it. So we want to make it so that we can do get albums /ID. After this, you will add logic to retrieve the album, write the code. Post album, get album by ID. Oh, all right. Let's study this. Let me go read this part. And we're going to do, wait. What, where are we? Where am I? Where am I? Oh, wait, we have to cancel this. Yeah. All right. So there we go. I mean, and we're going to do get album by ID. Yeah. All right. By ID. See that these are all middleware things. So context. You can actually call another one. This is so cool. So you can take exactly the same context thing and you can pass it off to another function. So if you have that kind of thing going on in your API, which I really, really love. So yeah. So we need to get the album. We say get album gets look at the album whose ID value matches ID. Uh, the ID argument sent to the client, not parameter. Then returns that album as a response. I refuse to have this be wrong. Um, to the ID parameter. That's the difference. People get that wrong all the time. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one again. I cannot remember my... I broke something in my config. I can't remember what it is. I'll go back to it later. So we're going to go do this. So we're going to get the ID, of course. Oh, look at that. C.param. This gets the query ID parameter. Or it gets it as, if I remember right, here, I'm going to read about it. Go doc. Whoops. Where are we? Oh. All right. So go doc gin context. Actually, I don't have it in there yet. Otherwise, I could just do that. All right. Parameter does returns the value of the URL parameter is shortcut of blah, blah, blah. So it's only a URL query string. Okay, good. Good. That's good to know. Very good to know. Okay, I need to know that. Now I know. So I thought sometimes, like in NetHTTP, it actually crunches together any URL parameters, query string parameters, and any data values at the same time, which can be a problem actually. So this is good. This is very good. You know what? I might actually be pulling gin dependencies into everything now, even my simple stuff, because HTTP keeps you free from that dependency, but this is like wicked small. It's a small micro framework, is what they call it. And it takes care of a ton of shit that NetHTTP gets wrong or can be problematic, including the crunching together of query strings and parameter and JSON values in the post data. It does that. It combines the two, and you have to like do a special thing to get them separate, but this has separate methods for that. All right. So I'm liking it more and more. Get album by ID. We've got that. So we'll get the ID. Okay. I'm going to read through this and I'm going to do it from scratch, by hand, hopefully. And then c.respond indent JSON. Gen.h. Don't you love this? You can make a header by, they're doing things that other people will tell you not to do that I love. Yeah, they are. This is normally, people will normally tell you not to do that. There's some settings of Vimgo that will yell at you for doing this because they're doing an inline construction of a thing. That's interesting. That key value is an actual string instead of like a reference. I have to look up what that is. Yeah. H map string any. Oh, okay, that's why. You see how they're calling it any instead of interface? Nobody does interface anymore. I'm so glad they got rid of that. They made the any alias. Nobody uses this anymore. Since 1.18. Func H Marshall XML. More compatible with Gin. Yeah, it is. You're talking about the writing? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love Express too, but yeah. So Marshall XML, XML coder. Hey, thank you for the follow. So XML coder start XML start element. It's just shortcut for map string interface. Start XML start element error. Marshall XML. Yep. There we go. So it is a map string interface. So that's why That's a string colon because that's the reference. Okay, I get it. I know. I agree. I've been writing. My first tech job was the CGI guy, the web, backend guy, writing in Perl back in 94, 96, 97, something like that. So I've been doing middleware, backend integration, REST stuff for most of my career, and then I went farther into the backend than middleware for the last, like, I don't know, 20 years. But for the first 15 or so years of my career, I was just doing this stuff. And I got to tell you, the reason I'm getting kind of giddy and excited is because it's bringing up all of those old CGI feelings. I mean, anybody ever use, mod CGI and Perl and all that stuff? And it's just so elegant. They've really taken care of a lot of the hassle of dealing with REST APIs, and without going overboard, which I'm just really on board with this. So far. And yeah, I mean, this is interesting that they actually made a header in the response by just doing this. You didn't have to like parse it or render it or anything. Oh God, it's just so nice. So indented JSON, status not found. We're going to make a header that has the message, and the message is album not found. Okay. And that's just a part of the API as well. So the API says, hey, you'll get back this thing. You have to define that in your REST API docs. All right. So again, we're almost done with this tutorial, and then the next step after this is going to be setting up mock tests for our API using Gin, because that's the stuff I need to do for the OpenAPI spec that we've written at work. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of endpoints that we're going to be dealing with, and I want to write the mock test case for this. Which good luck doing that on anything else, including Python. So, all right, so let's do this. Where are we? Are we still here? All right, so we're gonna put code, and 2 is like, we'll call this docs, and 3 is tutorial. All right, so I think I get it. What it's saying is loop over that list and look for the right one. So this is where your whole binary search tree sort of stuff comes in, right? Because we're just doing a linear search, which is normally bad. You would not do this. Normally you would have a database query here that would take care of the algorithm for you to go get it most efficiently. You would never linearly search through all the items in it. It's like really inefficient. It's bad coding. But we have so few of them right now that we can do that. All right. So we should, what probably would have been better to do here would be to make the albums not a list, but to make it a hash map and have it assign a number and then keep track of the latest ID in here if you're going to do that. But this is all stuff that's how you do your persistence. And this isn't persistent anyway, but that, to me, that would be better, right? Because this is just appending, which is nice and simple and all, and it's fast for adding, I guess. I don't know if it's any faster than a hash map. I don't know why they didn't use a map here, which is a dictionary in Python. I don't, but they didn't, so we're not gonna either. So we need an ID. So we could say ID equals c dot param ID. Is that right? Yeah, I got it. Okay. And then what? Okay, we're gonna loop through the list. Okay, so we're looping through the list. We're gonna say for all of the different, do we need the number? Probably not. For the album, right? In range albums, we're going to say if album I don't know why they just use the order instead of doing the number in there. I guess anyway, it seems like they mixed up dictionary, whatever. Album. That's a critique of the tutorial. If the album equals ID, then we're gonna respond with the ID. Why aren't they just doing a response right there? I know they're not. Oh, right, they do it there, yeah. All right, so they do it there, okay. We're using Jin, how are you? So we're going to say, if it responds to ID, then c.indented JSON. We're going to do some testing on this after I finish the tutorial. Yeah, we're going to do mock testing. So indented JSON, HTTP status, okay. Right? Yeah. Album. Yeah. And return. Otherwise, we got an error. So c.indented JSON, HTTP colon, and we do like 404 not found. I got to memorize those. Now that I'm doing more web dev again. The actual HTTP names. I mean, I know them, the codes, I just don't know the equivalent. And then gin.h, which is a way to send message data back. Web dev, middleware dev specifically. So we're going to have to add gin development to the boost, I have a feeling. Yep. I think we're going to do that. I think we should do a gin REST API for your resume. Wouldn't that be fun? You could put a gin, you could say, hey, my resume, or you can go look at my resume from the following, and then we should make a specification for everybody's resume so they can get it, put them at the nice. Yeah, the gin cocktail API. Resume. Wait, all right. So I did one in Protobuf. I didn't finish. I was going to make my resume in Protobuf. Res? No, it is not. No, it is not. Yeah, I'm going to prove it. Resume. Okay. There we go. Merriam-Webster prefers resume and lists resume as a variant. Résumé. C'est un mot français, ça. I'm looking up the French spelling because I'm going to prove you wrong. There it is. French resume include répondre, curriculum et résumé. Résumé. That's an E accent aigu. C'est-à-dire A. NetHTTP and Gin. Yeah, I agree. We need to do NetHTTP and then Gin. I think we need to cover it because it's like so fundamental. It definitely qualifies as boost content. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you want to say résumé, that's fine. I'm going to say résumé. Don't give me shit anymore. All right. The end. Love you. Okay. Pedantic assholes. Where'd you... Okay. Of which I am one. All right. So, album not found. So, anyway. All right. We're going to add another thing. We're going to say, is this a get? Is it a post? I'm guessing it's a get. Get albums. Damn, how do we do this? Do we do it like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this, but not like this? Oh, the doors go like this, and like this, but not like this. These are not the doors of a billionaire. These are not the doors of a billionaire. Richard, these are not the doors of a billionaire, Richard. 3B, 3Bs, tres comas. Let's see. C.indented JSON, HTTP to status found, JSON message found. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. I did it. I guessed right. Good me. Good on me. Get albums by ID. Run the code. You know, I want to make a blog called Pedantic Antics. Go run whatever. Run. Go. Okay. Hey, we're running the code again. At the moment of truth. Will it compile? No. Damn. Oh, that's an assignment. Why am I doing equality? Oh, wait. What? Wait, what? I don't know. What is the error again? Invalid operation album because I do mismatch types album and string. Did I define it as a string? Oh. ID. Where is the struct? Where is the struct? There you are. Yeah, okay. Boo, get albums by ID. Undefined. Really? Album by ID. Get album by ID. Get album by ID. Alrighty. Go whatever. Let's do it. Where's my curl? Where's my curl friend? Where's my curl friend? I guess I'm in a good mood. It worked. 4 is message album not found. Dum dum. 2 is Jerry Mulligan. 1 is. Oh shit, Mossy. Is it say lazy me instead of lazy me? Uh-huh. Wait. Wants to use my microphone. No. How about this?
Resume.
No. That is totally wrong. That is totally wrong. It's wrong. It's Google. Google doesn't know what the fuck it's talking about. Dude, il faut parler avec quelqu'un qui parle français couramment. Il y a des francophones là. Eh ben, où est les francophones? Il faut que vous vous montrez. Disons-nous, s'il vous plaît, comment dit-on? Résumé. Moi, j'ai résumé à parler en français. Moi, je suis... Non. Et il faut qu'on le comprenne. Moi, je ne comprends pas. OK. J'arrive pas à faire toute la prononciation française, mais je pense, mais je suis bien sûr. Eh ben. Okay. We have done with that section. Man, we're kicking. That's the conclusion. We are now finished with this. Now, we haven't done anything else. We haven't done update. Of course, you could do update, right? Which is say, hey, I want to change this value. I mean, the rest is easy. I mean, once you know that stuff, that the rest of the stuff's like super easy. The completed code down below. God, this is a great documentary tutorial thingamabob. That's all we need with Gin. There's really nothing to Gin. Man, we could do that. We could do that in like an hour in the boost. We're definitely going to do Gin in the boost. Yeah. And we'll do something like this. Tutorial finished. All right, we're moving on. So I know how to do Gin API. Now we have to do the testing of the Gin API. And that part, my friends, is not covered through here. So I'm going to have to go look it up. Yeah. And I mean, I think we can get rid of our windows. And we can go into the Gojin now. And let's tmux from in here. And add Gin as experienced skill. All right, so now, okay, this is the problem I have with this. First of all, this is a main package, right? So the first thing I want to do is stop that. As I said before, having a library and having a package in main is very problematic. Kicking a dead horse, front speaker. What are they saying?
We are looking at how to pronounce this word in English, designating a brief written account.
Where are they? Do they live? What region are they from?
Professional qualifications and experience as to prepare an application for a job. We are looking at how to pronounce.
Why the fuck did it take you 20 seconds to say that?
Resume. Pretty straightforward. Resume.
Ah!
Here are many more videos on how to pronounce all.
There we go. I think it probably is regional. He says resume. Well, I mean, if you talk to people like in Canada, or you talk, they're not French technically. Oopsie. But if you talk to people like Marseille versus Paris, I hear. I mean, in La Martinique, that's a département d'outre-mer. That's like legit France. They speak completely differently down there. Of course, they speak Creole too. All right, so the first thing to do here is to pause the YouTube video and go get more coffee. And then after that, we're going to come back and make this into an actual project that doesn't suck, that we can test using mock tests. We can't do that right now, having everything be in the main package. All right, I'll be back in a bit. All right, YouTube, I'm pausing you. I still have coffee, but I want to go ahead and answer this choice before we get back into this. So I keep getting this question a lot. Why not Rust? Why not Rust? Why not Rust? So I want to answer a specific question about Rust. Somebody asked, and I'm not attacking anybody. It sounds like it. I promise I'm not. I'm leaving the fishies on. I'm drinking my coffee to hopefully, it seems like coffee's probably not good for my blood pressure during this conversation, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try it anyway. So why is Rust bad for web projects? I think the reason that Rust is bad for web projects is that the underlying question there is, what are your web projects? Right? So that, and you can borrow a lie from the Node community here and say, oh, you should write everything on the back end of JavaScript because there's only one language to learn. It's like your code base is the same, and they're not wrong. I mean, there is a strong case to be made to write everything in TypeScript front end, back end, and I would actually pick TypeScript for writing REST APIs over Rust any day, because then you lose that whole thing, right? So the real question is, what is the middleware? What are the web projects? Right? If you're using Rust, by the way, I should probably say, if you're talking about Rust in the web browser as a WASM thing, then hell yeah, Rust is the best for that. It has the lowest footprint. It downloads faster. There's no GC to get in the way. Rust for WASM is hands down the best pick for WASM, in my opinion. And I think that's probably why so many web people, I hope anyway, that's why so many web people are into Rust, is because it's the best Flash replacement to run in the browser, which is really what WASM is. It's more than that, I know, but it's what it feels like to me. Anyway, so if you're writing applications that are going to run in the web browser, then yes. If you're talking about writing REST APIs and stuff like that in Rust, then you're no. Because why? Because it just doesn't make any sense to go through that. On the back end, it's all about integration, right? Even Java is a better language than Rust on the back end. But it depends on your code base that you're integrating with on the back end, right? So workers runtime. Oh, yuck. No, I saw that already. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the worker. Yeah, I did see that. I think it's disastrously bad. That's because they're adding it after the fact. It wasn't built in from design. So here's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so 90% of cloud native software, which is the software in the enterprise, most of which is the stuff that you're going to want to integrate with, is written in Go, right? So if your back end stuff is written in Go, then writing your middleware and your backend in Go, web services, things that are pumping things up, it makes sense to keep it in Go, not just for the fact that everybody who knows Go who's maintaining your code base, but because it'll integrate better. You'll be able to reuse libraries. You maybe be directly able to call into other stuff and build those libraries into your middleware that you couldn't do if you did it in Rust. If you write it in Rust, you're going to be the island out there that nothing can talk to. And okay, maybe it's a little bit faster, but we're talking about web speeds here. The amount of I/O. I mean, execution time and garbage collection at that point is completely irrelevant because we're talking about a web request over HTTP, which has got so much latency in it built into it that no amount of microscopic improvement in performance from Rust is going to slow you down. What will slow you down is not be able to write Rust quickly and not be able to compile your projects quickly. Those two things will slow your entire project down. And that's why Go is faster for that. It's faster for writing code, and it's faster for integrating with other code, especially if you have a Go code base. If you want to do TypeScript, that would be an argument to do that. If you have backends in Java already because you're a finance organization or something, then write that in Java. But don't write backend or middleware code in Rust. It's fucking stupid. Just don't do it. There, I had my piece. Back to here we go. Let's go back to Go. Right. If that weren't true, if it weren't true, I would be the first one in line to tell you the opposite, but I'm not. Okay. So there's a problem with this tutorial we just did. And let me show you. Anybody guess? Some of you can probably guess the problem. Okay. The problem is that, honestly, this is just like a hello world kind of for Gin. It's not designed to be robust. It doesn't have persistence. It's put everything in the same library. You would never actually do this on a project of any significance. You would not put, private methods in here. And if you were using OpenAPI, it would be generated in a completely different place anyway, right? So for our little example, in order to get to the part where we want to do, which is testing and mocking up Gin queries, we need to reorganize this code. Okay, so we're going to make it into standard Go. I'll say conventional, not standard. But we're gonna do that, right? So if you want to, you can do CMD and SRC, and you can sometimes, if there's not a lot of stuff in here, you can leave your lib at the top, which I'm going to do, and then we can move main.go into, well, let's make a make directory. Let's actually, instead of calling it Gojin API, let's actually call it something different. Let's say this. Let's do. Now this is actually it's gonna be interesting because I think this is gonna break our imports, which is interesting. Thanks for the fall. So let's do this. Let's make a directory in our CMD called albums. All right. So this is our albums API, and we'll move our main into that. Right. Now there's a bunch of stuff in there that we need to pull out, obviously. Oopsie. What am I doing? CMD albums API, Go. And we're going to pull everything out of here except for main, right? Oopsie. Wait. All right, so we'll save that. All right, so my things out here active. So in here we're going to say, instead of saying this, we're going to say lib, which I sometimes do instead of the big long drawn out thing that's there. And we'll put this in here. So this is not a main, this is a import. And put all of our stuff here. Now, obviously, as soon as we do this, we have a problem, right? So you recommend laying for web apps instead of Rust? Hell yeah. Not just me. Just do a minimal amount of research and see what the web apps have been done in. If you're talking about, what are you talking about when you say web app? I don't know what you're talking about when you say web app. If you want to write the front end in Rust and WASM, fine. It depends on what piece of the web app you're talking about. Web services in Rust is a disastrously bad idea. I don't like it at all. Yeah, I think it's horrible. You asked me, I told you. But people do. But you won't ever hear about it. I haven't heard about any. They did give a presentation in Cloud Native about Rust being really great for containers, and I agree with that. But look, don't trust me. Make your own decisions. Do your own surveys of stuff out there. Ask around. Ask professionals, not random bloggers and hobbyists out there, right? Go ask people who work for companies making over $100,000 a year doing this and ask them what their architectural choices are. Please promise me you'll do that, because there is a bunch of bullshit out there from people who think they know shit and they blow up, YouTube channels or anything, and they write blogs and stuff, and they have no basis in fact for what they're doing. They just heard somebody say Rust is really awesome for this. pick, first of all, there's a lot of factors in picking a language. A lot of them have nothing to do with whether the language is the best for the job. It has to do with the existing code base and your existing skill sets on the team and blah, blah, blah. But if you have a greenfield project, I believe that Go is by far the best for all the levels all the reasons I just said. Because you're probably going to want to do gRPC. Let's just do that one, for example. Okay, Rust probably does gRPC, but nowhere near as well as Go does. So you're going to do gRPC communication with other services on the back end, right? And gRPC and protobuf were like invented at Google in Go, and everything else has added it on or tacked it on. And so they're playing catch up. That's another reason to pick Go. I mean, I could go on and on. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You have to go. Yeah, gRPC and protobuf is the standard. There's just no debating that. I mean, there's going to be niche people that are going to use other things out there, but no, the entire cloud native world is built on gRPC, so which is also building. Okay, whatever. Do whatever you want. So immediately you'll see we have a problem here, and this is a problem that's very much not covered by other people who cover Go. You'll see that I've got all these internal things, right? And it's like, how am I going to call all of these things? I don't know how I'm going to call all these things. So if we put in our main here, right, we have all this stuff. I can't call these things. I can get a Gojin router. Best roadmap for Go. I started doing Go boosts. There's like, go look at the boost. Go look at the boost. We've been learning Go from scratch in the boost for the last 4 weeks, every Saturday and Sunday. There's an entire playlist. Go to the last 3 episodes of the boost, and you'll get everything I ever want to tell people about Go. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so we have albums, ID. Okay. So this is all great and stuff, but you see immediately this isn't going to work. It's not going to compile. Why? Because these things are not included, right? And this is where we kind of get into an interesting place with our APIs, right? It's very possible that you would want to have these elements of your API be loadable from a different binary. So let's say you wanted a binary that didn't implement all of them, that only implemented a subsection or something like that. So, these get albums and things like that, these are all private, right? And so we can't see them. We've separated our code and we can't see them. So this is why in so many major projects, including Kubernetes, you will see an internal directory, and they'll do this, make directory internal, right? And then we're going to move our lib that we can't use. So let me just prove it to you. So if I do go build, or I do go install, which I'll put it in my bin directory. If I do go command write albums, it won't build. It's like, I have no idea where those things are. And we can't do this. We can't go in here and put example whatever, right? Because there's nothing to import. I mean, we could try to do this and import. This is where I am a fan of using GitHub, even if you don't have it. So if we did example / Gojin API, right? Okay, so that imported it all, and then I could do go. I mean, let's do this. We could give this an alias. We could say, I want to call this API. And then over here, I can do API.getAlbums, API.getAlbumID, API.getAlbumPostAlbum. Now that fails. Why? Why does that fail? Because it can't get it. It can't find it. It doesn't exist, right? And it's looking for a thing that doesn't exist. So in order for that to work, first of all, we have to go to mod. This is why I think the use of example is somewhat problematic, because of this error that we just had. So, and here we go in lib. It's like we have all these things in here, but they're not a part of a package. Actually, no, let me do this. Let's do package, go, what do we call it? Let's call it package API. Yeah, let's do that. Let's call this actually, that might work. Let's try that. Let's see that. I mean, it won't because it's private, but it might get us farther along in this stuff. No. So, I mean, I'd have to do go. I mean, it's not going to work, but I just want to show you why it doesn't work. So yeah, it can't find it. It can't find it. If I do go, by the way, whatever the package name is, that's the thing that will be used, and it will even update it for you. Right. So that, oh look, it accepted it that time. Yeah, but it's still gonna have problems. Go install cmd. Okay, undefined. So it can't find them, right? Because they're private. They're private. But it got farther than it did before, right? So the way to do this is to put it in internal. So we put lib.go into internal. Now you can even it's not neovim. I don't use neovim. I never will use neovim. Sounds like you need to watch like session 3 of the boost. So it talks about Vim and stuff like that. We spend like 5 hours on just Vim, how to configure it and everything. Yep. All right. So, and there's my opinions on that. All right. So, okay. So let's do this. Okay. So let's do this. Let's say we have an internal. We just moved everything in internal. Now, usually when people put things in internal, they will make another package in there, right? However, I'm totally okay with the package actually being named internal. I'm okay with that. Some people might not be okay with that. I totally am okay with that. If somebody tells me a reason not to do that, please let me know. Now, but here's the thing about putting it in internal that we can do. So we can set all these things to be capitals so they're exported, but they're not available to anything outside of this module. But if I ever did need them outside of this module, I could easily move them into a non-internal package without any changes to the code whatsoever, except for the package name. So I am not a fan of private anything. I default to internal on everything. And that's a stylistic thing. And another reason is because it provides the opportunity to write example cases which cannot be written unless you have exported functions. You cannot write example cases properly, test cases, without exporting your stuff. And even if, so you want those things documented under an internal, people will see that, and then you can write documentation that gets produced properly. We're doing Gojin mock testing. Yes, we are. So then we're going to do this. We say post pet album by ID. And again, it's internal, which means that only the stuff in my I very rarely will use a private, because privates literally for me are like, okay, if this lives in this file only, so be it. But otherwise I'm good with exporting it. And exporting it just means making the initial capital, and then that's fine because it's internal. That means nobody else can use it and become dependent on it. Only me and my projects can become dependent on it. But I get all the advantages of using exported stuff, including documentation, example tests, and all of that. So it feels like I'm using an externally exposed API to the people in my project. This is something that is not covered anywhere else, and yet it's prevalent throughout the Kubernetes code base and a bunch of other code bases. Anytime you see the word internal, I've never once read any book or tutorial that covers internal, and it's really important that people understand it. We're writing the Gin mockup test cases. We're just going through how to do Gin test cases. Yeah, we're gonna do Gin. I'm practicing Gin test cases because I don't know how. I know how to do HTTP mock, and I know it's a thing that needs it, but we have an OpenAPI implementation at work, and I need to write test cases in Gin, and so I'm practicing doing that here in front of everybody so I can go back and do it at work. So this is work relevant stuff. It's also the reason I'm not going into a lot of detail answering questions because I'm on the clock here. All right, so I've just happened to be talking through my workday. So that's all in internal now, right? And we have all of that, and we should be able, so that we can change these. So in main.go, we can change Ginjonic. We can change this to be internal.getAlbums, you know what I mean? Or better than that, let's actually, let's go in internal. I am wanting to make an API directory here. All right, so we'll move lib into API, and then we'll call it api.go. Pretty standard stuff there. And now we're going to go edit our file. And we can use the API. In fact, if I save it, it should do it. Okay, let's do this. Go install internal API. Oopsie. Undefined albums. Oh, whoops. But this is I'm doing this because it's gonna allow me to write test cases that are good and not shit. I hate bad test cases, people. It's like, because you lose the opportunity to write really great test code just because you were lazy. And you end up writing something using some convoluted test case that was unnecessary, and you lose completely the ability to do that. This is capital A albums. Yeah. And WSL, hell no. No, there's a lot of new people here. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome to the channel. I've made lots of videos about that if you want to go get the whole idea of it. I will never touch WSL2 again. It's disastrously bad. It's so fucking bad. And everybody told me, and they were right. Everybody that I should have listened to told me. So this could be album or A. Let's just do A since it's local. It's a smaller size. Yeah. Name your variables according to their scope. That's a pretty common thing. Album not found. Okay. Try to install that. Album type's not expression. A bunch of stuff from changing the names. See, if I had written the names properly, I wouldn't have to be going through all this shit. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to have to go into there and turn my debugger on. Go into test. All right, so that'll change. That'll show me my test cases as I do it, because I've got obviously more errors than I would care to admit. API. Let go. 6 is... Oh, we don't need that anymore. Nope. Oh, no, we do need that. Undefined album, declared but not used. 34. Oh, we did an A. Yeah. Wait, what? Do we even need that there? Oh, this needs to be A, of course. 38. Oopsie daisy. Albums. Ah! I cannot type today. I don't have a thing for VM yet. I use it. If you want to know that stuff, to go watch the best. Go watch the boost. There's an entire boost on just that. Mr. Robot. Mr. Bot. What do you want? Am I Git Bash? Yeah, I'm using Git Bash. This is not Git Bash. No. This is SSH logged into a cloud, a VM running on my system, running a Ubuntu server. Actually, if you do distro, you'll get that. There you go. So it's not VirtualBox anymore. I need to change that. It's VMware. Don't use VirtualBox. It'll screw you over. Oh my God. 38. This should be A. Yep, A. All right. We're gonna, okay, no tests. All right, that's good. We're gonna come back here because we're gonna be writing those tests in a bit. So we're gonna keep this as the test window. But I do want to go back to the main window. All right, so now when I save this, it should begin to start getting it. We need to change our package name. We have a problem. It's still not seeing it. So there's something wrong with the. Oh yeah, we still named it internal up here. So as soon as we named this API, now we can do go install this package. And now if I save it, it should just get it. Please get it. Nope. I still have a problem. Oh, because our symbols are wrong now. So let's change those. Right? There we go. See how it pulled it in automatically? So now it says, oh, hey, it's an internal API. It's like, okay, so I can't build this thing. It's designed to be the internal API. So the really great thing about this is that my commands, my executable commands, are all under CMD. And my libraries and stuff are all under internal, so the packages that I don't want people to use. And so the reason I prefer this, people have different opinions on this, but the reason I prefer this is because it's very clear when you come into the module repo, the GitHub repo, exactly what's going on. You have a bunch of internal library code that no one should use, and you have some commands, right? Now, if I had any Go code at the top level here, I would have people assume that that stuff is importable and export it not just internally, but publicly. But as it stands, just by looking at the Go repo, they can know exactly what's going on, right? And a lot of people would put the internal stuff under SRC if there was other stuff living at the top. But in my case, I don't need that because it's relatively small. So that's where I'm coming from. Why did I go to all that hassle? Not just to separate out, the executable code from this, but I mean, look at how clean this is now, right? I just know what's answering what. I mean, I don't have to, slog through a whole bunch of other stuff. But now I should be able to mock up my entire test. So here comes the test cases. And I'm going to start a POMO for this, otherwise I'm going to go forever. So Z POMO start. So I know I've been talking for a long time, but in 51 minutes, we'll take a break. Okay. Oh, tropical storm warning. Damn. When's it going to hit us? I got to check this. Western North Carolina. Shit. Tropical storm warning is there within the next 36 hours. Huh, we're going to get hit hard. It's starting to get warm outside too. I hope we don't have power outages because I don't have my UPSs from Iraq yet. Anyway. Okay, I mean I have power surges, so that's important. But I'll just lose power. And Kubernetes is designed to be resilient. It should be able to put up with it, and it's just going to make me test my backup strategy. It's going to make me better. Anyway, okay, so we got a POMO running. Now let's start writing our test case. So as you can see, there's no test yet, right? So let's make some tests. First thing to do is to make a test file. API under test.go. Good morning. And we're going to edit this file. And we're deliberately going to make it the same package name. And we're going to call API underscore test. We're doing that on purpose because we want to force the test cases to look like code that would be used if somebody were using it anywhere else. And in this case, anywhere else is internally within the project. But if I were to move any of these things, the example test cases would stay the same, even if we publicized some of those exported API methods and functions stuff. Current the news here in the UK. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it did get hard. It usually dissipates by the time it hits us. Hugo is the only hurricane that hit North Carolina full force, and it was bad because North Carolina is really up north and we're not really prepared for it. But we're used to big storms here. So yeah, you can definitely see the swath of the clouds and stuff out there. So yeah, it'll just hopefully I read the test cases of any code that I want to learn to use. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, Admiral, because I complain about this all the time. I did last Sunday too, or Saturday. Test cases are written for the people who they are the best documentation you have on the planet. And squandering your opportunity to provide really amazing documentation that's runnable is a sin against, tech nature. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. If you don't want to write actual documentation, write really, really good test cases that people can read. And then when someone says, where's the docs on this? Let's say, just go read the test cases. You're like, oh. And if they go read the test cases, it's a bunch of convoluted testify shit or messed up, you squander your opportunity to use example test cases, then the person's going to come back to you and they're going to say, I can't make any sense of your test cases. I think we need documentation. I'm like, damn. But if you had simplified your test cases and used example-based tests, which I'm about to show you, then you would have won the opportunity to say, oh, these not only are these examples, and here's a really cool thing about Go that does not exist in any other fucking language. No language on the planet does this except for Go. This is how brilliant the developers were who made this language. Example-based test cases are automatically published as interactive tests that go with the documentation on the Go playground on go.doc. Let me say that again. Example-based tests in Go are automatically runnable code that gets embedded with the documentation that you produce automatically. If you don't do that, you're an idiot. There, I said it. And nobody does. Nobody does. You know how many times I've had people say, I don't even know what example tests are. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm going to harp on this point because it drives me nuts because people totally lose an excellent opportunity to write testable code. Here's another thing. If you force yourself to write test codes and example-based codes, all that shit with private versus exportable and internal will all bubble up because as soon as you try to write an example-based test for your own team that's managing your internal project, you'll immediately realize that all of those unnecessary private variables are shooting yourselves in the foot because now you can't write example-based tests for them. All right, I'm done. So let's write the first one. Get albums. Get albums. So this is how you do it. You just write it. It has to, according to it uses reflection, and it has to be exactly the same name. There's no fancy testing.t or shit. You just have an output, right? And we'll just put blah there. That is the essence of an example test. fmt println, right? And we'll just print some. I mean, this is it. An example test just has to be something that tests. Manage apps, we can found the same in Golang. No, you don't have it. I promise you don't have it. You don't have embedded runnable example-based tests. I guarantee you that. No, another reason not to write Rust. And by the way, the people that manage Cargo and all those mods and the moderators on the forums and everything all resigned in disgust because the leadership of the Rust team was like completely unbearably hypocritical. Go read it very publicly. Yeah, no, it's not a package manager. We're not talking about package management. We're talking about testing packages with embedded documentation. All right. So now I've already written this, and what is it doing? I should run it actually. There we go. So here's our test. So our example test says, hey, I got some and I wanted this. We got all that for free. We didn't have to write any scaffolding or anything. We got all that for free, and we get something that's readable. In fact, if I do the reading on this, I can do this. I can go doc dash all dot. Hey, look, I get this. I get my functions are all stuff. I have my album, my variables. It says my functions. And if I actually did it with a web page, I don't know if I can do it on my thing here. What is it? I haven't done this in a while. There's a way to actually make it serve up web pages too. And then you can go test the web page. I don't remember where it is, but when it gets published, you'll see it out there. All right, I'm not going to spell it. If you want to, just go to go.doc and you'll see a bunch of that stuff. I think that's the right URL. Let me make sure I got the right URL. Go.dev or go.doc. Go.doc is the thing of beauty. Absolutely is. It's man pages sort of, but we want to find the Golang docs for Gin, let's say. All right, so here's the Gin framework. This is their individual documentation. You get this for free, by the way. If you follow these conventions, this stuff all gets generated for you just by publishing it to GitHub. And it goes out and finds it and generates it all for you. You don't have to do anything else. So, I mean, and this is the same thing GoDoc would show you. I'm just wondering if they have it. I don't imagine they would have example tests here, but let's go check and see if they do. So it's got the constants. I do have a couple complaints about the GoDoc stuff, but whatever. It doesn't look like it has any example-based tests. It would be strange if they did, because it's an interactive thing. But I want to test it, so I thought it's good to just come out here and look. So there's all the docs. It gives you the direct. Oh, look, there's an internal directory. Remember I told you? See, there's all the main source files, and then they have an internal directory that has their own JSON marshaller. Interesting. Interesting. So I hope we can override the JSON marshaller. That's a to-do that I have. Is the JSON marshaller that comes with it is not one that we want to use. It does unnecessary escaping of HTML and a bunch of stuff that the old reflection JSON API does. So I think we can actually plug it in. We're gonna go look at that later. But anyway, if you can go to other things and get examples. I mean, let's try one. So let's try bonsai. So here's my bonsai commander. Getting started. Go bonsai. So this is my bonsai tool. And there's lots of stuff here. We probably should use this one. This is I didn't document my Z one though, so that's because it's my own personal one. So install Z, tab completion, embedded. I'm trying to find bonsai example. Let's do that. Let's do. I'm just curious to see. So here's the installer. Tab completion, collapse, the Z command, variables, index, foo function. This is a commander, so it doesn't play nicely with function-based examples, but the library itself does. So let's go to bonsai /Z. Since 2014, when TJ Holloway check we made Express wrote Feral to Node, that's when I switched that day. Yeah, it just it does reflection on the code, Mossy. It's absolutely brilliant. Godoc actually parses the code, looks for the comment sections in the code, and then generates all of this stuff automatically. It's freaking amazing. So this is the API that Bonsai uses. Args from the command line. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So see how we see here? See this? Example args joined example read nil. Okay, so check it. I get this for free. I can change it, right? So if I change this to something, I can say else. And I can do run, and I get waiting for remote server, and watch, it'll actually run it. It should run it anyway. Maybe it won't. Some else. You see that? It has to go all the way back to the playground and get it. And you can see that? That's runnable code. That's a runnable example. And let me show you the source for this, though. So if you click on here, you can actually see the source, right? Is it this one? All right, so here's the actual source code for that. Args or in, right? So here's the actual source code. It links you right onto the source code. But what I wanted to show was bonsai_go_test.go, because that's where the test is. And as you can see, z_test. See, I put the test in there, and then I do args from. Here's my example-based tests. And the way you name them, see that it says read nil. And for some reason, it has to be underscore here. I don't know why. You can't put a capital there for some reason. I don't know the reason for that. It's just the one that connects the two. So this is the name, and it uses the reflection API to parse this name. Is you good? Yeah. And so then you come down here and see this. This is exactly, there's something I wrote. That's the example test. So it took my example test and it turned, by what criteria are you establishing that? You're going to come in here and tell me I'm not good. Okay, good. By what criteria are you using that to tell? So you're using args from, I'm a Dota user. I am. I'm definitely a Dota player. Am I a good Dota player? Hell not. Hell no. I'm a horrible Dota player. You know why? Because I have a job. All right, so here's your example, and you can see how the examples. And I am done ranting about why, if you're not using example-based testing, you're throwing away a wonderful opportunity to document your code and avoid disruptions later. So do it. Just do it. Can I start banning? They're teasing. They're fine. Don't ban him, Matt. He's fine. I want to be like light with the ban hammer. Yeah. Because usually people are just playing. I'm still bad at Dota. It's okay. So here we go. Format FNT, println some. All right, we want the blah. So if I want to pass the test, the output has got to match. Okay. All right. So now, yay, we pass, right? And we also make it documentation free. So next problem. We want to test get albums, right? But we actually don't, we're not doing anything here, right? So we need to actually test starting up the server and then calling it, right? And that is harder, right? Because we have to emulate the starting up of the API server. Now, I have a feeling that that's going to change how we do our development. I think we're going to have to put the router stuff that's in main someplace else. This is why we're doing this test-based driven development, is because we want to hit these problems early on, because they will vet, they will like ferret out for us these problems. Hey, Flying Wiki. So these things will like bring that stuff out. So how am I going to test API get albums? I cannot. How do I test? This is an age-old problem in the industry, back all the way to the 90s. How do you test a CGI API? How do you test anything that you're requesting from a web server without a web server? Well, thankfully, Go has built-in httptest, which allows you to create a server really quickly that uses these things, right? Now, the problem is that these rules right here about how to handle get, post, and all of that are going to be, I have to call them from something, right? Is it triggered in Vim save? This one right here. This is using a tool. It's using ENTR. Yeah. So let me give you that. In fact, let me see. If you go look for this. Go. What is it? Go NTR test. We wrote one about this recently. All right. So go NTR test. Yeah, and we did a video about this too. So tune into the videos. But see, there it is right there. That's what it's doing. You want that? Here, I'll send it to the chat. I'll send it to the Eeks chat. This doesn't go right to the chat. My automation is broken on that, but eeks.io/ God, Eeks is slow today. Oh, 4BPY. There you go. There's something you can cut and paste into your own code. But it's not that fancy. It's just using ENTR. I used to write my own, and ENTR just runs whenever any of those files is detected to change. That's all it does. It's really nice. All right, so back to the problem at hand. We can't have our router set up in here. We can't do that because we can't test that. There's no way to test it. I would have to start up this program, right? So already we've identified a design flaw in how we've written our code. We cannot put stuff in here that we want to test. Period. We can't. We have to do it. We have to do it in a way that's going to let us take over the. I mean, we could actually. You know what? Actually, we could do it. We could do it. I mean, we could leave it here, but it might be better for us to put all this. We'll find out. It's probably going to be better for us to put all of this code into a single thing and then call it like serve or something. So it would be, our thing would be like api.serve. In fact, I really want to do that. Yeah. And then your main functions just become api.serve, right? And then we can do this. So now we can put that into our API, right? Now we won't be able to test this one. We're not going to be able to test this one. So func serve. And I mean, we could maybe give it some parameters later, right? So serve starts this server, starts the API server. There, that's all. All right. And I don't even know if that would work in a test, but okay. And it's running on localhost, and so we probably do need to give it a parameter. Let's do that. Let's give it a parameter. Let's say what do we want to say? Host string. We could say address. How about that? ADR. So if there's an address provided, we're going to use that instead. So ADDR. So if the length of ADDR equals 0, then ADDR equals, no, if the length of args, args, and add, whoops, var. Okay, I'm remembering my pattern here. Local, oops, local host 8080. And then if we have more args, then we'll override it. Equals args 0. Now we could use flags and stuff like that, but that's gonna work. Okay, that gives us all of our arguments are strings. We have a variable number of arguments. That's how you can do. Yeah, probably. Yes. And so down here we can say we can change this to ADDR, and now we have a router that runs. I mean, if we want to be consistent with Gin, we could change it to run, right? That might be the way to go because people are using Gin already. The API.run. No, I think serve is better. I don't actually like the term run, but whatever. All right, so no, let's see if everything is still working, shall we? So, if everything is working, we should be able to change our this to just be API serve. We should be able to save that and have it be good to go. In fact, we can even do this. And that is our entire program. It means it's variadic function parameters. Yeah. That means there can be 0 or more. Yeah. They have to be all the same type though. If you want variadic and you want them to also be any particular type, then you'd have to do this args any. And now it can be literally anything. That's kind of Python-y, It can literally be anything. And then you'd have to do typecasting and stuff like that. Or you could use a generic if you wanted to as well. Yeah. In my case, it's just a string. And for really, really, really high level function calls, quargs, yeah, it's kind of like that. Kind of, yeah. Not exactly, but kind of like that. If for very, very high level function calls, it's pretty much a good idea to pass everything as string. Pike is quoted famously as saying everything should just be a string because it just makes all your code easier, and then you just cast things around. All the REST APIs are all strings and stuff. Until you get to the lower level, and then you want your type checking and stuff. But at the ultra high level here, strings are fine. So localhost 8080. I mean, you could get crazy and put different ports in here. You could get crazy and make a struct that has your default configuration and pass that in. You could do all kinds of stuff. 1.18 along with generics. Yeah, generics have it. The 1.18 generics added. I will never use anything else. Any is literally, watch, go doc any. Oh man, go. I guess it's not in there. Yeah, it's any is here. I wonder if it's I wonder if it's in the docs. Nope, it's not. Okay. Yeah. Any is just it's literally an alias. Kind of like rune is an alias for int32. Alias is an alias for unsigned int32, I'm pretty sure. And any is now an alias for interface. Because generics were really lame without it. They were so messy because of those curly brackets at the end, and square brackets and all of that mixed up. So the era of interface bracket is over. It's been over for almost a year now. If you're writing new code that in 1.16 or 1.18 or above, if you're not, first of all, there's before 1.18 and there's after. And I never want to look back. If I have to maintain a code base that's pre 1.18, I will quit and make a new job. It becomes more like Python and Java when it added generics. Yeah, but Python is shit. Have you ever tried to distribute an application in Python? One binary and go. You can't compare. Execution speed, do I need to go on? And that code was 2 years older than mine. Oh, God. I'm so sorry for you, Admiral. I'm glad you were able to do that, though. Yeah, I will never work on any project willfully lower than 1.18 for the rest of my life. I am so married to it. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, it's, and that's the nature of code. I mean, guess what else I'm doing at work? Yeah, yesterday we spent an hour reviewing over 15,000 lines of Perl code. that were, oh my God, can I just rant about this? This Perl code is using if you know Perl, okay, so raise your hand if you know Perl. You can admit it. The Perl code, yeah. So 15,000, this is legacy code that's been running in our enterprise for decades, like literally decades. And we are writing a REST API and Go on top of that to go get to that stuff. But we're just wrapping that code, and occasionally we have to like spelunk into the code and get to know it. They are actually setting dollar all caps argv to pass stateful data between different function calls. Wait for it. Somebody who knows Perl will understand why that's so fucked up. I just cannot believe they literally changed the contents of argv, and then the other functions that come below that have no function signatures expect RV to be in a particular way. So on a separate line, they have to set RV up higher, like 20 lines away. And then when the function gets called, you have no idea. You'd have to inspect what argv is to see it. It's so stupid. They're not even using arguments. They're not even, it's just, I can't deal. I'm sorry. If somebody that I work for is watching this, it sucks. I'm sorry. And it's fucking horrible. And you should have actually asked somebody who knew a little bit of Perl before you did it. It's so fucking bad. I just don't have words. With Python, it's just not small. No, you can't. You're talking about a Python VM? You can't. You absolutely can't do that. No, I believe me, I know. Are you talking about an egg? Which distribution method are you talking about? Take a roll like tutorial. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. Look, I loved Python for a long time, and now I don't, and I'll never go back. You have to know Python for lots of reasons. App image for one, no. Oh, you're talking about the one that bundles the Python binary and then stuffs all that stuff in there with it? God, we learned our lesson in the 90s. I did that very thing with Perl, Indigo Perl, Perl.exe. Yeah, if you think that that's a modern method of distributing software, you should be fired. If you're doing that instead of rewriting your code base in Go so it can be compiled as a single safe embedded FS, even if you want in Go, you should be fired. Seriously, you should not have a job. I don't think you should have a job if you're doing that. God help me, I would never work with you. If you're actually distributing enterprise software doing that, what are you going to tell me next? Anaconda is a good thing. How awesome Anaconda is. Is that what you're going to say? Okay, fine. We're done talking here. I love you, but we're done talking about that topic. Okay, so there's just no comparison. It's just silly. And everybody knows, even Guido said his language just sucks. You want to see? There it is. I learned a painful lesson for a small group of dynamic that for a small programs, not the kind that you're distributing with app image to several thousand machines. Large programs have to have a more disciplined approach, and it helps to have a language actually give you that discipline rather than tell you, well, do whatever you want. Says Guido in a meetup in Seattle. So, yeah, I'm definitely opinionated. I do. If you willfully pick Python as a greenfield project on anything that's not machine learning today, or maybe, Ansible related things, or some of that stuff that's got a Python already going for it, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. The ML crap inside of Python, I don't think it will change. No, it will. It will. There's a bunch of ML people that are already changing. Yeah, they've discovered that they can get crazy ass amazing performance. The only reason, so this is the bad thing about ML right now. No, there won't be Jupyter notebooks for Go. No, not anytime soon. No. The problem with the ML and the astronomer people is the same. I call it Python bigotry, because that's what they've grown on. They've used it. I've seen it in my school. If you teach people JavaScript first, they will go on to learn C and assembly and a bunch of other things. If you teach them Python first, they will never leave it. There's something about Python that creates bigots, and I've observed this scientifically in my classroom since 2013. There's something about Python, because it's so easy and because of its lack of brackets and all this other stuff, that creates people. And so what happens is the scientific programming people and the machine learning people, they learn Python and they never learn anything else. I am not even kidding. And the machine learning people are brilliant, but they're fucking terrible programmers. And I have overwhelming objective evidence of that from my job. from my job. These Python, they don't even write Python good. It's like all the machine learning Python people that are writing Python. I am learning. I didn't call you a Python bigot. I said they tend to be. From my integration product, mostly because they didn't miss team tells it. Yeah. And look, I will use, the right programming language is the one that's already being used unless you have a Greenfield project. The end. Whether it's Java or CoffeeScript or Perl, right? I'm not saying rewrite everything and go. That's what Rust people would say. But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you willfully pick Python for a Greenfield project that is not machine learning or potentially like Ubuntu software stack, which is all Python, yeah. Business name, it says if your team already experienced the language, it doesn't make sense to force something down their throats. No, you should never force. No, and they know the problem. The problem with the machine learning community is they've never fucking learned anything else. Some of them have maybe learned. I've seen. This is a true story. I was on a demonstration from a machine learning person who was teaching us about Helm charts, actually, of all things, and they had no idea what they were doing. There were 500 people on this call, and someone was giving us a presentation. This is a true story. And they were doing some sort of machine learning thing, and they were doing Helm charts and machine learning stuff from the command line in their terminal on VS Code. They were going to their terminal and doing it. And they had to rename a file. And you know what they did? They opened up the Windows Explorer to go rename the file. I'm not even kidding. They had no idea about the MV command. And to me, that is a perfect example of most machine learning people. The people that I've encountered in the machine learning, if you're a machine learning person, please don't take this as criticism. Please don't take this as criticism. This is helping you be aware of a gap that you probably have. The machine learning people have learned Python, and they've learned, oh yeah, this person is brilliant, by the way. They're PhD level brilliant when it comes to machine learning, but they haven't learned of code. The only amount of code that they've ever learned how to do is how to get their models to run. And they have never cared to learn Linux properly because they have no need to. They're like, no, I'm just going to run it in Python on my Jupyter hub. They all live in Jupyter. They live in Jupyter every day, all the time. And if you go watch Nick Wan does data science, same kind of guy, brilliant guy, absolute brilliant guy, never uses a command line. He's always in Jupyter. He pretty much lives in Jupyter hub. Or Jupyter all the time. He's like doing all his Python for Jupyter. That's his interactive nature with Python. Their whole world is basically to shun the terminal. They don't want anything to do with the terminal. They also know R. Yeah, they know R and Julia, Jupyter. Those are the things they know. So anyway, did you know Jupyter? People say this actually. Jupyter is useful. I really don't model that takes 5 minutes to load because you keep handing us off to him. Yeah. So, look, I'm not bagging on ML people. What I'm trying to tell you is that when ML people pick a language, the decision is not based on the best language for the job. The decision is based on lots of other things besides that. Mainly, I don't want to be bothered with learning anything else. I just want to learn this one thing because I want to do my models. They live in their mathematical machine learning space. They don't live in coder world. They don't live in operations world where they're trying to get things to run efficiently. Just go look at the source code for Jupyter, for example. It's so bad. I had to try to do a Jupyter web integration. It's so horrible. And this is people who actually know Python, apparently. You want to see good Python, look at the Ubuntu and Canonical people, what they're doing with Python. Or look at, I imagine Ansible. There's some good Ansible Python in there, but there's some horrible stuff in there too. So I'm not saying that stuff should be changed to Go. Obviously not. It's just Python is much faster for those kind of things and writing. But the reason the machine learning people will never move to Go, and there are some who are. There are programmers who are moving to machine learning, and they're like, oh my god. There's like a blog I have to go find again. There's a blog from one guy who's like really high level machine learning guy, and he will never touch Python for it again. He uses Go for everything. Because it's just a tensor. It's just you can't use PyTorch unless it's Go either. So we'll see. The problem is that the Python people, the machine learning people actually think Anaconda is a good thing, for example. They have no basis of reference because that's all they know. It's all they know. And it's all they ever want to know because they don't give a shit. They want their models to be done and working. They don't care about where their models are going to go after that. And by the way, that's actually a fun place to be because after you get a nice model running, it doesn't have to be in Python after that, right? You can put the model implementation and embed it into a Go application or a TensorFlow.js application, which is that the machine learning, the the machine learning conference from Go, the evangelist said you no longer need Python for. He literally said that. You can go look it on YouTube. He made a big stink in the keynote of the Google TensorFlow conference, saying you no longer need Python for TensorFlow. And what he was specifically saying is that once you get a great model, then you can run it with TensorFlow.js in a web browser or a web app or something like that, because now you've got the model, you can distribute it. And that's how they do their natural language processing and all kinds of good stuff. And that can run and go. So my point is that the people that are making and running models, this is why I have all of these machines over here, because I'm going to get into machine learning and I'm going to prove it. I haven't done any machine learning yet, but I support a machine learning cluster, and I'm going to go. I've got over 30,000 CUDA cores over there if I want them. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to learn machine learning. I know it's hard and stuff, but that's a goal of mine, 5-year stretch goal, because I actually want to learn those things. I know. Okay, back to what we're doing. We're doing Gojin. I know. I let myself get distracted. Thank you for the reminder. All right, so we got to get albums. Should I take a break? All right, let's take a break. More French music. Ready to go.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear.
Oh, how you linger on.
Still craving your kiss.
How you crave my kiss.
Now I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this.
Give me a little kiss, sweet dreams, till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Buzz, stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. Yeah, I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams, dreaming
till sunbeams find you. Keep dreaming.
Gotta keep dreaming.
Leave the worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, you've gotta make me a promise. Promise to me you'll dream. Dream a little dream of me.
I didn't mean to scare anybody. I'm just, I get hot under the collar. I probably shouldn't. Oh shoot. I just streamed that to YouTube too. Okay, I'm calmer, and I blame the coffee, but crack the bottle at one. No, yeah. I have to cut back, Matt. My guts have not been happy with alcohol lately, so we're alcohol. YouTube, hi Alpha YouTube. We do drink alcohol over on Twitch, sometimes on the job. Shh. So we can get the Balmer peak, which is, a technical requirement for good coding in some cases. Down to 1 beer a night. Yeah. College doesn't teach any of the tools needed for the job. Yes, we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. All right. So tech systems. Yes, I work for tech systems. Please don't dox the actual account I'm on. That would be irresponsible of me. I find the way that people wear the company they work for on their sleeve, internet sleeve these days, to be not something that I'm interested in doing. Not to mention insecure. I have a problem tweeting or twitching every moment of my life here, though. Besides that, so I feel like that's a violation of their rights, even if they don't require it. But lots of people don't agree with that. Anyway, undefined API. There is no API. There is only Zool. I don't know where that problem is. Let's go look it up. API.go. Yes. Where is it? 65. So what do we break? So we're getting ready to do our testing. Oh, we moved the router over here. Yeah, we don't need this anymore because now it's in the same package, so we can get rid of that. Right? And so we simplified our main program. We can go over here and do main, and then we can just leave this open. And you see our main program is nothing now. We call it up and start serve. Boom. And the simpler your main programs, the better, in my opinion. Because that means that people can call into your stuff and still make it a part of their executables that have different, source help files and all that stuff. In fact, we really don't need that one anymore. So let's keep going. Let's actually test our new thing and see if it actually works. So to do that, let's actually do a go install on our main. That's the first test. And yeah. No, those are good things to learn. They're just not relevant to IT usually. They're not. You don't make apps in computer science. It's not what they want to teach. They teach you computer science. Computer science is not apps. Yeah. Computer engineering, I think it's a better degree than computer science these days. But it's mostly electronics and how computers work and stuff. Or cybersecurity, something like that. You can't get a degree in software development. Almost every place that offers a degree in software development has you learn Java, which is, they're all behind. So I'll tell you that one more time. Do not get a degree in software development because the chances of the college teaching it being current are like zero. You'll learn like 5-year-old Java. And if you're learning Go, God help you if you can even find a program that does. So don't do that. Go get a humanities major, for God's sake. Get a humanities major and learn all the tech stuff on the side and build your own rack over here so you can prove you know it. And then become anyway. You asked. You didn't, but oh well. Okay, so command alums API app. So let's do that. Let's run it. Albums API app. Uh-oh. We have a problem. Oh, I didn't do the runtime check. If the length of the args, oh wait, it's not 0, because why? Anybody know? I'm sure someone out there knows. Yeah, is greater than, we'll say is greater than 0. If the length of args is greater than 1, because 1 is the name of the program. I forgot. Yeah, so yes. Albums API. Booyah, here we go. Listening and serving up on localhost. All right, so let's do our curl. Where's my curl? Do I have some more curls here? Yay, I got album 1, and now I got album 2. Album 3. I can run that through JQ. dot price and get all the prices. Oh, maybe not. Can I price string for string price? What? That was weird. That. Oh. There we go. All right. So everything you had to implement all in your own time. Yeah. My server stuff, 30 grand, 30, 40 grand. It's a long story. I'll tell you another day. Yeah. And I have 20 minis. They're 900 each. 6 tries, they're 1,000 each. $2,500 server. $3,400 Mac Pro. It's all stuff from the school that's been left over for years. I just finally put it in a rack. And it's been sitting idle, unused for the last 4 years. I started a company a long time ago, and this is what's left over. I also have the debt for that, in case you're wondering. So long story. You don't want to hear my long sad sob story, but at least I got that out of it. A JBT token for authentication? No, we're not. Not right now. Not right now. We will do that, but I don't want to complicate the testing right now. But that's a great idea, Globerry. We are going to use JWT tokens, bearer tokens for authentication at some point, for sure. Yeah, and that's already built into the system. So right now, my goal is to test the mock-ups, right? So code went into the wild last week. Nice. A colonial pipeline. Very nice, Dave's. Jump 17 Spring Week. Currently working on expanding my skills as DevOps and cloud. It's too much to learn. There is tons, believe me. At a young age, pointing in the right direction. Priceless, yes. Yeah, hopefully I get to work in Kubernetes database Jenkins. Well, you should start working on building your own cluster. I cover all that stuff in the boost. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to look away from the chat because I need to focus for a bit, okay? And then we'll come back up for air. Let me set zpomo start. So I don't want anybody to feel ignored now that we're getting more people participating in the chat. But please just understand that when the tomato's on in the corner, you can't see it because it's kind of getting overwritten. Let me fix that. Yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of getting overwritten here. I need to figure that out. Let me see if I can fix that. The chat will be smaller, though, if we do. All right. So I could probably make myself smaller, too. How about that? You don't really need to see me. I'm not that impressive. You just know I'm here, I guess. How's that? How's that? How was that? All right, so here we go. Yeah. All right. That's really nice. Thanks for saying that, Daves. And thank you for saying so. Appreciate it. And I've got stuff to learn too. That's what I'm doing this for, right? So we're learning how to mock up Gojin tests. So we have our server. We separate that out. Now we can do all of our things to practice things. All right. So we're back to the API. Whoops. We're back to the API underscore test, which is an example test, which we covered. And we actually need to start a server, right? So we're going to actually go do a research on this. I actually know there's a tutorial on this. I just got to find it. So golang gin mock tests. Yeah. If you don't know my channel, I take the chat very seriously. So I generally will try to listen to you and answer it. I know people ignore the chat a lot. That's not how I ever wanted to run the community. So it's kind of distracting, but that's how I do it. Unit tests, make mock.gin context and golang Stack Overflow. Of course, Stack Overflow. It's probably the first answer is probably wrong, so we'll skip past that. Gingonic, gin content, user repository. We did all this, so we know what's up. User controller get. That's interesting. They wrote a controller for the individual users. That's cool. We know about that because we just you know. Oh, they did it in an object-oriented way. Yeah. Yeah, this is a Java programmer who wrote this. So this is the OO way. This is the closest to OO you can do in Go. So they created a struct and they get this is so bad. This code is so bad. That is not how you use an interface, my friends. No. And then they put get in front of it too, which is no. Oh, this is so bad. Eh. Yeah. My test main, GitHub, Gingonic. This is somebody's really bad code. I know that already. So, Gin set mode, Gin test mode. Okay, so this is true. This is a good thing. See them using this stupid ass testing framework? It's great. The testing framework is great when you need it. Most of the time you don't need it. You can get away with an example test. Just promise me you're going to try an example test before you default to testing.t. You make the world a better place. Yeah. Well, hopefully. So c.status 200. See, I wish the Gin had followed the conventions properly here. They really didn't. So status, this is setting the value to status, that should have been a set. So the idiomatic way to write Go accessors and mutators is to have c.set when you're changing the value and have c.name when you're getting the value. So c.status should not take a value in this case. It looks like Gin was not implemented. Maybe it was implemented before those idioms, those conventional methods of writing Go code. So set mode is right? So gin.set mode would follow that, as long as gin.mode is the getter. And so there's no set and get. There's they use set and then there's no get on that. That's the conventional way to write Go. So this is violating that by setting the status. And then they have get all, which no. So repo is a repo mock. Control user controller. Control that get all. Repo get all. Here we go. So user repository mouse equals len user repo to get all. No, this is horrible. This is not the one I'm looking for. There's a better one. Yes, there we go. Jim provides the option. Of course, the second answer is right and not the first. Jim provides the option to create a test context, which you can use for whatever you need. Create test context. So Jim create test context is be test out new record, new recorder. Oh, this is so cool. And yeah, here's an example of how I mock the context using your recorder. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so you have to set Gin to test mode. That you do have to do. And then you do HTTP new recorder and you pass it in. And then you set the parameters on Gin just like you would. So this, in this case, okay, this is interesting. So in this case, you're setting the parameters as if that was the query string. And then you run it. And when you pass in the C, it does all the pulling and everything. Yeah, I wrote something like this already now that I'm remembering to test this. So let's do that. Preemptive interface. Yes. Yes, it should definitely, Dave. So I agree. So this has the meat and potatoes of how to do a Gin test. So Gin.set mode. Now, the problem with this set mode thing is I don't feel like this is bad because they're not setting it back. I mean, this is assuming that all this stuff in this entire package, once this examples runs, is going to want to run in test mode. I suppose that's fine. Normally when you set something in a test case, you should defer to set it back to what it was so that when the function ends, it gets all reset. Otherwise, you're going to have global environment variables and stuff like that that'll stomp on the other values because the test messed with the global package state. So in this case, though, we don't care, right? We really don't. Gin.test mode, because we want all of our tests are to be gin in test mode. I mean, if there's ever a case we wouldn't want that, it's bad to assume that, honestly, but it's pretty safe to assume it. Yeah. And we don't, I mean, let's try this. So C, comma, error. You never throw away your errors. That is so bad. Very rarely should you throw away your errors. Gin, create test context. W. Wait, what? Oh, HTTP test new recorder. Let's see what that one is. Undocumented. Go doc HTTP test. New recorder. New recorder returns an initialized response recorder. Okay, what's that? What is a response recorder? I don't know. This is the magical thing. And code is the HTTP response code set by write header. Okay. We need to just look at HTTP test, actually. Yeah, I want to reread this one. All right, so HTTP test. Package HTTP test provides utilities for HTTP testing. Well, that's helpful. So you can get a new request. You could this. So this is the coolest thing. Is I've done this before. Apparently, Gin does this internally. I'm writing NetHTTP API code, right, without Gin, and you can do this. It's really cool. In fact, Bonsai has some of this in there. No, my HTTP package has it. You want to see? It's in my JSON package. Clone JSON. Oopsie. So I wrote a JSON package that has stuff in here for this kind of thing. And I wanted to be able to just fetch JSON data. And so here we go. So here's my example test. This is how you make a server. So this is HTTP test, right? So you create a handler, and then you make a new server out of the handler, right? And then it defer closes the server. So in this particular fetch test, I'm making 3 servers. Isn't that cool? 3 independent servers that function in every way like a server. And then down here, you can actually call. So this is me testing my get, put, and all that stuff, right? And I actually gave it, so the response writer just prints out this really simple JSON data. And then down here, I set up the data, create the struct type matching for the REST query. This whole thing like populates or binds, if you will, a response to this stuff, right? And then it says data, gives us some data, and then I say JSON this, it converts it into JSON, this JSON object, that converts to data type. So this, see, I got that documentation for free because Go, this encapsulates anything as JSON interface. So then I can use the JSON. And then I do the request. The request equals JSON request. And I put, this is my own function signature, kind of, not really, but. And then I do JSON.fetch the request, and it fills it in, and I can print it out and do all this stuff. But here's the request, right? So JSON.request goes here. And so underlying the whole test here, the request method, the request method is this. The request is a human-friendly way of thinking of web requests, and it's got this order and everything. And the reason I do this is because then when it fetches it, it populates all the values, and I can just go about using it. But in order to test it, when I call this, it's like the actual HTTP request is so buried that I have to give it svr0.url. And when I do that, it will know that's what I want, right? Because the URL, where is it? svr0. Here it is. See up here? So svr0 equals a new server, right, with this handler. And so then I can make the URL, and when I set the URL to go request it, it will actually call it using my mocked web server. And that is an example of HTTP test in the wild. If you want to go see it, that is rbxrob/JSON. If you want to go read that. So that is it for HTTP test, which is embedded. In this case, server is even hidden from us because it's inside of the Gin test, which is the point of this. So I'm trying to get to that point. So you have a new TLS server, anyone started server, new server. Okay, we got that. So we have this recorder, and I don't know what a response recorder is. I don't, in principle, I don't know what it is. I'm not reading about it as well. There's nothing there. I don't really understand it. I'd have to go read it. Response recorder is an implementation of a response writer that records its mutations for later inspections in tests. Oh, interesting. Hey, QMacro, how are you? So response recorder is an implementation of HTTP response writer, which is standard, right? But the difference is it records its mutations for later inspection in the tests. That is so important. So response writer is the thing that you create when you're responding to an HTTP request. So it's the thing the server is always using. It writes to it. It's a writer, and then it goes out to the web browser that picks it up, right? Response recorder is the same thing, but it's also like keeping a record of it up to the side so you can go check it. That's really cool. I probably could just use that and not even use the Gin testing and messaging and stuff. Okay. My wife's asking me questions about the hurricane stuff. I can't find bottled water. It's all gone. Everybody's freaking out. All right. Hey, Doris. So response recorder is an implementation of HTTP response writer that records mutations for later inspection tests. Okay. So I feel like I know what this thing is doing now. It's the same thing as a writer like you're used to using if you're using HTTP. All right. Good deal. Time to go off. So we've got this, and then we need our standard this, for which I have a macro. Actually, we're not going to return the error if we get that. In this case, we're going to have to print the error. And we're just gonna print the error because it will deliberately be out of sync with this, and it'll be done, right? And we can just early bail from that. Let's see. MIT semester should include how to find a good wife 101. It should. And I would have needed to take it. Yeah. Don't get divorced and lose all your money and then find the right wife after that. Some people, that's what it takes. I loved my first wife for years, so, and then I didn't. Very long story. You'll have to come to After Dark and watch that if you're watching on YouTube. You're like, what the hell is he talking about? Anyway, no more print blah. What do we got here? We need C declared but not used. I will use it. Give me a second. All right, so C dot what? I don't know. Let's go back to stack exchange. Oh, we need to create the parameters, and then we need to actually call it. All right, so then we need to call get albums. Yeah. Wait. Get albums. Yeah. So we need this. We need API dot get albums, and we're going to pass it C, right? And that does not return an error or anything. So we have to go look up the answer. Ooh, look at this fun stuff. What do we get here? Wait, did we get an error? Why is it printing that? I don't know why it's printing that. It should not print that. Oh, it's an error. It's making an error. Oh. Uh-huh. Maybe it's not error. Maybe it's not an error. Maybe that's not an error at all. Go versus Rust. Yeah, I do. Lots of opinions. Yeah. I have lots of videos on it too. Yep. I have an entire playlist, so please go look at that. I don't hate it. I hate something else that's not it. It's been discussed a lot. Yeah, I've become kind of an anti-Rust person, mostly because of all the ignorance surrounding it. Yeah. Okay, create test context returns a fresh engine for context when you post it. Well, okay. That didn't help me. How? Wait. What does it return? Oh, it returns the Gin engine. Oh my god, it returns the actual engine. Why the hell am I checking it for errors? Okay, I don't care about the engine. Normally the second argument's an error, so there. So, yeah. Get albums. All right, so then we need to do this. We need to say fmt println. I mean, I wonder what C is going to print. This will be interesting. Ooh, look at that. Should we JSONify it? Should we JSON it? Watch this. Yeah. JSON dot. I'm using my other thing. JSON this C. JSON this C. The required module provides package JSON to edit. All right, fine. See what happened? Learn Go if you want a job. Learn Rust if you want to be irrelevant. And then learn Rust after that, after you have a job. How's that? That's the short answer. I have specific objective evidence that is a fact. In fact, I helped a guy get a $100,000 entry-level job doing that exact thing. Rust fanboy. I said, learn Go to get a job, and he did, and he got a job. When he just learned Rust, no job. Yeah. If you're looking for a challenge, then yeah, learn Rust. If you want to learn cognitive, learn it. Yeah, I there's nothing wrong with learning Rust. Just know why you're learning it. That's all I'm saying. Hey, look at that beautiful JSON that I JSONified using my really awesome package, even if I do say so myself. Yeah. And that's cool because that gives me all the stuff that's in a particular errors equals null. You know what I don't like about that is that they could have done empty if nil and they didn't. They could have done empty if nil, empty if nil, empty if nil. So the Gin stuff's got some problems. Hey Jalopy. Do means I don't know that you're failed. Yes. All right. So, but it's printing out the JSON, which is what we want. So we can do this. We can say, I mean, we actually need to do the request. Oh, we need to set up the query parameters. That's right. Yes. All right. So this stuff I am just going to copy. I'm just going to copy that in. That's from the web page. You notice I didn't use my mouse at all. Mises are for geeses. C params equals Gin param. It's definitely normal. I'm running a test case. Yeah. Read the room. You're also on YouTube, so don't be a dick, Jalopy. Okay, for YouTube, I know this guy. He's one of my best friends. So he just is kind of a jerk most of the time. So, because they're going to think I'm just yelling at random Twitch people. Do you still want the Raspberry Pis? If so, be nice. Be nice for like 8 full hours to me. Say nothing but positive things to me for 8 hours, and I'll send you these 15 Raspberry Pis. Deal? Deal? You have to be nice to me. And that you're like perpetual troll as you are. Open Explorer. You had to copy paste. Thank you for the entertaining comment. Wait a second. Don't I need something else here? Yeah, I do. I do. This comes after this. There we go. What parameter do we get? Well, album. Okay. Key equals ID. Value equals 2. All right. Now, this is completely useless. That's not going to happen. Sorry. It must not mean much to you then. It'll be a good exercise for your soul. So, all right. So let's see. If W code equals 200, do something good. IO util, you should never use it. It's deprecated. It's been deprecated since 1.16. Oh, wow. Yeah. What are we doing? We're doing gin debugging. That's what we're doing. So first of all, we're going to println the c.status. It should be 200. C.status is a function value not called. All right, fine. How about that? What? Okay, fine. Fine. What, that has to set the set? I just want to get the status. Why is it W? Oh, because it's recording. It's recording the response. Wait, what? Oh, that's why we need the W out here. I get it now, sort of fish. Yeah. All right. So this is stuff. So this is the response. Actually, we should probably put. Oh, that's the response writer. Yeah. I'm going to say read RW. Test.new recorder, which is a response writer that keeps track of everything. So then you can look at it and expect it. Yep. And down here, we can then do our W status. And that is not defined. I'm very sad. Oh, it's just code. Ooh, got it. Okay, so now we can pass this test. So this is to be a 200. That's our first test. Now we pass. And we should get our other stuff too. So we're going to simulate this. So I'm going to write this in here so that they can read it. So this is, we'll say p:// localhost 80. If you were going to do curl, right? It would do, yeah. We would do local 8080. It would be albums, comma 2. It's a gin parameter though. I don't know if that's right because this is not a parameter. This is I think param is the query string. So we have to modify our test to use the path and I don't know how to do that. Create context, test context, W. I want to do the equivalent of a curl test inside of here. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And I don't know how to do them. I don't know. Multiple params, gin param. I don't think this is correct. Let's actually print the entire RW response. It'll be a big old thing. Okay, so that was the body. All right, so we got a 200 and we got everything. So it sent a query string and it didn't do what we wanted. We need to be able to pass it without the query string. So there's two ways to pass parameters, right? You can pass them as extensions to the URL, or you can pass them as query string parameters, and that's what this is, and that's not what we want. So but that's good. It's good to know how to do that, but we need to change the c.params to something else. We probably need to change the params to like c.url, right? I don't know how to set that though. Let's go see about this. Gin.context. It's got to be a property of context. Like URL or something. HTML handler names. So what I want to know is how do they deal with the stuff after the path when it's partial path, you know? Bind URI. What is that? Binds the past struct pointer using binding.uri. It will abort the request with the 400 if an error occurs. Yeah, they don't. So remote IP. The thing is that the context contains the response, but how do we set the extra parameters on it? You know? Full path. Yeah, well, I mean, you do that here too, but I don't know where to put it. That's the thing. I don't know what to set it to. I think it might be bind URI, but I don't know that. Keys is key value, pairs, keys, params, context of each request. I wonder if we change the request itself. I do. I think we need to change the underlying request. I do. I think we have to change the underlying request to have a URI that has something extra in it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Comment on the structure. Yeah, we did that. Someday maybe, not right now. Yeah, I'm not today. I don't have time to review other bad Go code. No, I have too much of my own. Sorry. So okay, so this is what I'm trying to get to. Right now, it creates a test context, which is awesome, right? And it builds a test context based on the request. The response. And then it changes the query string parameters to the thing. I have a feeling that we don't even need to do this. I have a feeling that we could actually, in the response, in the rw.response, I think we could set the parameters in there and the URL. So we need to look at this particular piece right here. Because this is just a response writer. So you see what I'm saying? So if we so it's just http dot test new response recorder. So header results write string flush. And it the result is an HTTP response. So there's nothing I can change on that. That's not. It would have to be part of the request. All right, so that's out of the question. So that's not it. So it has to be something we can change on the context itself. Maybe it was something we could change on the Gin engine, but I don't know. Yeah, we have to change something on the context, and I don't know what it is. Something in this needs to be changed to give us the extra URL. I wonder if it's in the test farther down, and we just are not seeing it. So oh wow, look at this. This is way better. Set parameter just like you did for your main function and register your routes. Oh wow, I like this one way better. Are you kidding me? This is way better than the other one. The farther down you go in Stack Exchange, the better the answers. This is way fucking better. What is that other one? What was that even doing? And then you got the response record. This is so much better. Oh my god. I feel silly now. I didn't keep reading my Stack Exchange stuff. We don't even need this shit yet. We need to properly set up a router. So gin set mode test mode. Okay. And then what? Then we need to do gin.default. So router equals gin.default. Paste a link to what? This? I mean, it's, yeah, I guess. Why isn't it doing it? Oh, wait. There we go. Yeah. That's the URL. It doesn't cut and paste very well, unfortunately. If you search for Golang Gin mock test, it'll pop up because that's what I searched for. And then it was the first unit test. Here we go. So there we go. I'm actually going to capture this because I want this to be. This lab is saved, so you can go look at it. All right, here we go again. Yeah. Anyway, I need to make my WeChat integration again. It's all busted right now because I want to get off WeChat dependency so I can just my own thing. I'm gonna do that. It's just after I got the rack done. So after we get Kubernetes installed on there, then we can do all this stuff. Okay. All right. So I like this because this is actually what you would really write, right? So get users equals get users. There. See, they did an actual HTTP request. You see that? They did an actual request. This is so much better. Okay, because it's modeling what the code would look like. And the other thing we did is nothing, no programmer would ever write. So we could say, oh God, I love this so much better. So albums. Envelope setup. Was it 4 for me? You know, yeah, we'll keep going back on that. Yeah, it's. I'll review it and do that thing. Yeah, don't. I'm boring. Like, don't watch me. Just go to sleep. We'll get to it eventually. So we have get albums. Right. So now this is going to be API get albums. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff. This stuff is bullshit. Stupid ass responses on Stack Exchange. But the other one was a good one, so we'll give that credit. Where am I missing an argument? Oh. Okay. So then we're going to do the request. So the request error, which is exactly what you would do with HTTP. New request. And this way they can see there. This is curl. This is like curl, but not. http.method.get. A method get. And then we're going to do slash albums slash, which one is this supposed to be? Oh, this is all of the albums. Okay, so we'll do one for albums and albums by ID. All right. And you know what's cool about this is once you know this, you can actually write the test cases in advance and do true test case driven development. And then you could implement the API as you go and then have it fulfill it. That's cool. Even though it's a REST API, it's really cool. Unless you're going to do, Open API, which just generates all this stuff for you. It doesn't generate test code though. No test code. So I don't know if you need the test code, but I don't know. I feel like you do need the test code. If I rewrite the generator for OpenAPI, we should actually generate test code stubs as well. I got to put that in my list of things to do when we rewrite the generator or write our own generator. Albums. What's the last thing? Is that the query string? I need to see this. I don't know what that signature is. So that's, the IO reader. So we get the method, the URL, and then the IO reader. Oh, so if we want to pass a body to the request, which we don't. Okay. That's cool. And then we do the if error equals, oops. We do the if equals null. Fatal, couldn't create. I'm not doing T dot, whatever the fuck. Couldn't create request. Or is it couldn't create request? I mean, we could just print the error. All right, rec declared but not used. I know, I'm getting there. All right, so, and then they make a new writer that keeps track of the answers. Write a response recorder so you can inspect the response. A response recorder is so cool. If you want curl effectively in your tests for Go, try http dot response recorder. In place of and you are set. All the response values is saved inside of it. Everything else is the same. Yes. Do do ba do ba do ba do ba do. Another URL. Are you sure? What did I say wrong? What did I say? Did I say it wrong? Did I say it wrong? Oh. Sorry. That's when your brain goes on autopilot and you're like, wrong. Perform the request. Serve HTTP. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. Huh. I sense a problem in the force here. Yeah. Because I think there might be a problem with this response. I hope not. I already threw it out. Where is it? Damn it. Where's my history? I threw it out. I'm a bad person. I don't know what I was thinking. I throw it out. It's already been an hour? Oh my god. I gotta hurry. Golang. It's not in my history either. It didn't get committed. I'm trying to decide where it is. Where did my last request go? Anyway. Server blades, no. They're Mac Minis and MSIs. They're like blades, so they're more powerful than blades. So, Golang, Gin test, HTTP test. Hopefully, I'll get it again. I don't know. I lost my URL because I was going too fast. Yeah. Golang. Change the base while using httptest. Yeah, this is the one. I should probably save this though. Uh-huh. There. Now I won't lose it again. Okay, so that's not the one. Damn it. It's just my luck. That's what happens when I go too fast. I mean, it's close, but no cigar. Oh, nope. Testify? Fuck that. Oh, clearly this is dev.to. No wonder. Shit. I'm mad now because I can't remember. I have to go back to my video and go see what the URL was. Somebody asked, what's the URL? I should have posted it. I feel bad now. Either way, this is that's a good thing. Maybe this has something. Get samples. Get sample. Unit test set router. No, it's stupid. Stupid. That's stupid. Others, yeah. Nope. Nope. Mockgin. Requests. Yes. That other one was so much better though. If anybody has the URL, let me know. Those are good, but they're not as nearly as good. Wait. Oh, this is the one. Nice. Okay. There we go. That's definitely the one because it's the same stuff. Yep. It's down below here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, the same one. Got it. I found it. Okay. Get. So this is interesting. So it composes the request, and then it does the new recorder. We got that, and then it serves it up. The video code status. Okay. Well, the part I don't understand about this is how it gets past R. I don't see the R getting past. Oh, r.serve HTTP. There we go. That's what we do. serve HTTP. That's interesting. This is a totally different technique I haven't seen before. So this serves the request. It is served to the writer. So that calls a single HTTP serve. That is so cool. That is so cool. You don't even have to do all the other mock-up stuff. You can just serve out that one. Oh my God. That is so brilliant. That is so brilliant. Oh, I'm so glad I found that one. All right. So we're over internal API tests. I cannot stop raving about that. It should be testing recorder. And then, so this is where the magic happens. r.serve HTTP. You read about that. So it conforms to the HTTP handler interface. So what you're doing is you're just calling the handler directly. It's not even firing up a server at all. That's so stinking cool. Oh my God, that is cool. That is so cool. Oh, that's like faster too, like way faster. Oh my God, that's so cool. I think that's cool. You said so, Rob, a lot. I think that's cool. Oh, I'm so happy because I mean the other ways, as you saw, they're all kludgy. That is so fucking clean. All right. So whoever this person is a genius. I want to upvote them. They're like number 4 on the answers. Who is this? To use the above method since it'll execute and handle your request the same as it would an actual request. You see what I'm saying? That was the problem. The main problem with all of those other answers, this is 2017. The main problem with all of those other answers, by the way, Gin has been around since 2016. That's how old it is. It predates context by like 6 years. So this is where context came from. I think it's pretty safe to say that. This is so much better. Because you know what else? This is great for example test because it shows the exact code you would write. Oh, I am so happy with this. I just cannot overstate it. My gratitude for whoever this. I want to send this person like a beer or a car or something. Brent Ranter, you're my favorite. From January 19th, I want to find you and compliment you. Would this be counted as a unit test or integration test? Yeah, because you just tested the function. No, you're not testing the Gin framework. You're testing the fucking function. So absolutely the answer is yes. This is an integration test. The unit test doesn't need to spin up an HTTP server. Exactly. If you reduce the question to how to create mock or a function argument, the answer is use interfaces, non-concrete types. No, that's stupid. Stupid pedantic asshole. And don't know the other ones for other HTTP stuff since it's just a handler. Yeah. As long as you can mock the interface for the response or something like that. But if you actually do want to spin up a server, you can do that too, but I don't see why. There's really no reason to do that. You just want to make sure that the functions work. And, you know, the fact that this has serve HTTP, that all by itself, that's like worth everything. Because that binds the request with the response in the way that Gin wants. So you don't have to care about anything else. You can make a context if you want, but that constructing a context is stupid in a unit test that's going to be an example because that is not what the end user is going to do. The reason that this speaks to me so loudly is because this is exactly the code you would write if you want to use this API. And so you can literally cut and paste the code out of my example test and put it in yours and use this request. Everything else is like manufacturing a context and the end user will be like, what? If you want to put that in a test case, which is private and not expect, but then why? Why not just write how to use the code by forming a request and putting in your examples? This is absolutely beautiful. Okay. Checked if the status was okay and blah, blah, blah. So the rest is kind of downhill from here. Honestly, because yeah. Yeah, it is. The rest is downhill from here. I mean, it's just checking the status codes and stuff from the response. So yeah, we can just say fmt dot. Actually, we can just do fmt dot. Wait. Please tell me I'm not. Oh, damn it. All right. Let me stop editing on this one and work it from the other place. Okay, so we go back to our test case over here. API headers test. All right, we have our HTTP server, and then we can just press the response. Yeah. I mean, for now, I could JSONify the response if I wanted to. There it is. There's the body and everything, right? Okay, now that's what we expected it to be. It's like all of this stuff in there. Or we could do this. We could say println w.code should be 200. And that should pass. Wait, what? Okay, oh, that's the log. Yeah. You're good, yeah. Gorilla Mux and Echo. Yeah, Echo is apparently cool. I just think it's too new kid on the block kind of thing. I'm not a fan of Gorilla Mux. The generator for Gorilla Mux, the OpenAPI generator for Mux is bad. It's like really bad. The Gin one is way better. So I'm not a fan. I mean, I know there's competing micro frameworks, but so far Gin's really sold me. And it's also very mature. And I would rather have mature than new kid on the block any day. Especially for this shit. So anyway, print the code. Goes good with juice. Lol. Look at benchmarks. Yeah, Gin kicks its ass. So not interested at all. I mean, Echo's faster, and so is what's the other one with the F? There's another one that starts with F. I don't remember though. Body. Hey, look at our body is JSONified. Can we do body dot? I don't know. What is body? What's the body type? So Go has a thing where you can print the types. It's type T. Yeah. As a body of type bytes buff. Oh, it's a bytes buffer. It is a bytes buffer. Well, that sucks. Because I'd have to I have to parse the bytes buffer back into JSON. Anyway. I mean, that's what I would normally have to do. So, we need to, what's the fastest way for me to parse that JSON body? Hey, IH developer, how are you? What's the fastest way for me to parse a JSON buffer into a thing? Marshall? Actually, we could do this. We could say, oh, I know what to do. We can say this. We can say, albums. I mean, this is weird, but this should work. Albums. Var albums is an albums. And then we can do JSON.unmarshall or Marshall. Albums, and then we do w.body. Println length of albums. Define albums. All right, API albums. API album is not of type variable of type blah. Oh, whoops. Too many arguments to call JSON Marshall. Oh shit. Um, I mean, let's take the first one. So, I mean, this is a really weird test case anyway because it's using like some predefined data that's already in there, right? So you say body album first. Well, actually, no, that's not going to work because we have to make a thing. Yeah, we have to make a struct. There's no such thing as an albums type in the API. Table? I don't know what that is. Are you talking about making a big table and having it run through everything? No. No. I understand why people do that for certain things, but mostly I do example tests because I want to make documentation instead of esoteric weird. I do tables. I did that for my parser. Like it's like in between fuzzing and not. But yeah, we have album and we have albums. So albums is not a type; it's a thing. So yeah, I mean, so in order to do the test, we have to do this. We have to say type albums is a, and hopefully that'll marshal. I think we could have got, I mean, I think we could have been able to do this without this, but I don't know. Too many calls and call to JSON Marshal. Want any. Oh, it's unmarshal. Real type bytes buffer adds type byte and argue to JSON Marshal. All right, fine. I need to do buff. I need to read it all. io.read w.body. And then we can unmarshal that buff. Album type is not an expression. I could probably change this actually. Yep. Oh, it's because it hasn't made one. That's why. Yep. Well, fuck it. I'll do that. Undefined albums. Bytes method? Is that a thing? Can you do that? I don't know. That's cool. I'll do that. Body. I don't know if you can do that. Is it a recorder? Go doc. Response recorder. Right. It looks like I could write it. It sounds like I can write it all directly into a byte buffer. There's no .bytes on here that I see. But is it because it's implementing? It would have to be a result. Bytes buffer. I think write is probably the one we want. We just write it into a buff string. Right? Because we could do this actually. I don't know, I'm new to this, but if we did this, we could say recorder, blah blah blah. I mean, we say buff or buff. I don't know. There's probably something better. We'll do that later. So then we say w.write into the buff. I don't need to check errors or anything. Body is a bytes buffer. There is no body. Oh, it's a property to which the handler's write calls are sent. If nil, the write says, oh shit. Well, we already have it then. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Thank you for that. All right, so that makes total sense. So then we just do, yeah, unmarshal, w dot body dot bytes, and that'll do the read. Yep, undefined albums. That's because we don't have one. First. And we got 3. Yay! We're working. Thank you for that tip. That was a great tip. Thanks, Shars. That's like way simpler. All right, so unmarshaling the response. The thing that's cool about this is exactly how you would write the code, as I've said before many, many times today. I feel like I'm set to do my mockups for Gin, and I feel like I'm probably going to wrap up this particular segment. I will be starting a new segment about something else later tonight, probably. But this has been more than sufficient for me to write the rest of my unit tests for the API that I have at work. So I'm probably going to shut down right now and write some of those unit test cases at work. But I haven't used response recorder much. Also, my wife just got home, so you two, I'm going to say goodbye. Have fun looking for this. If you want to find this code is all in my lab. So this is in my lab repo, lab Gojin API, internal API. You can go find it there if you want it. I'll get that committed right away. All right. Bye, YouTube.